This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, your pop culture home.
Yeah, Frank here has got his own billiard room.
Yes, it's what do you call it, Kramer?
Billiard room.
No, not billiard, not the billiards. It was
billiards room.
Come on already. Come on, we call it the
place to be.
The place to be. Yes, the place to be.
Then I shall be there.
Now, it's time. Live and in living color.
The Grandy Man can.
Time to play the game!
Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling, so...
That's what she said.
Why do I want this? I want to make bank, bro. I want to get ass. I want to drive a Range Rover.
Place to Be Nation, Scott Criscola and Justin Rosero. This is the Place to Be Podcast.
Very nice, Mr. Crisbola.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis.
D'Lo Brown interfered with a frog splash and hit it on Severn, getting some revenge.
I know.
What the hell was it? What was that laugh? It was like an old cartoon fucking Hanna-Barbera dog or something. It was like Snidely. Was that the fucking dog that laughed like that?
JR's got a little more time than I do to sit and actually rewrite the whole show.
This is the third time you said it to me today now. I'm really curious.
Well, I'm not saying that you have nothing to do. I'm just saying your
day... I'm curious how I have more free time than you. What does that mean? I don't know. I know it's been a rough, and I'm not used to this long, grueling podcast game.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. Are you going to just joking off for the next hour?
Come on. Did you say D'Amato, late 20s, 30s? And you included yourself in that as well?
I was being nice to him. I am still technically in my 30s.
I think they might hit a shock wall.
What the fuck is
shock wall? Is that the Shockmaster's wall?
He's going to fall through the shock wall.
Yeah, I like Big Dick myself. PTB Nation. Let me know what
you're
our
opener.
To do worse than Josh Richard.
Welcome back to another great episode of the one and only Place to Be Podcast. I am your co-host, Justin Rosero. We have a very exciting episode of podcast here for you tonight as we wrap up a monumental year in wrestling history. We also have Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals going on up on TV2 here in the PTB Man Cave. So let's bring in my PIC so we can get the ball rolling. We'll light this rocket. And that is, of course, the one and only Scott Criscola. Scott, how you doing?
Good evening, JR. How you doing on this Monday evening? Good evening, PTB Nation, to episode 229 of the Place to Be Podcast. And yes, we do have the leap year edition of the Place to Be Podcast. And not only the end of a great year, JR, but the end of a decade.
Yes, that's right.
The last pay-per-view.
End of a millennium.
At the end of a millennium. That's
right.
End
of a century.
End of my 500th birthday.
End of a decade.
End of a quad centennial, or no?
Yes.
But yeah, we have a great show tonight.
End of a year.
One that's another
end of a month.
Those, what's that?
Nothing. End of a month.
Yes, end of
a week. Start of a week.
Minute.
Depends how you look at your week.
Yes.
End of a day.
End of a day. End of a Sunday.
End of the pay-per-view year.
End of the pay-per-view year. Yes, thank you.
End of a bond between father and daughter.
That's right. With the son involved. Plus a bunch of other stuff going on in this pay-per-view. And yes, as JR mentioned, it is indeed Game 3 tonight from the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. And to honor this moment, JR, because obviously I would be distracted watching the show. You're going to watch the game with me. What do I have on my screen? Your boy, Todd Pettengill.
Yes.
I got for my 40th birthday from our man Johnny Reckless, the best of In Your House Blu-ray.
We're in your house.
So I'm kind of stoked about it. I have no idea what's on
it tonight.
I didn't look at any of the playlists, the set list. I have no idea what's on this disc, these two discs. So I'm very excited. And Todd looks good. He's got the frosty hair, his little soul patch. What do you think about getting him? That's pretty badass, huh?
Of course. I've been waiting forever to come back. I wish him and Sean Mooney would take over interview duties on Raw. You should bring Mania back in the studio.
I think it'd be great. an Action Zone. I can
Stephanie Lyon
review.
back
I
in
can
the
review.
mix.
I could review fucking 8 shows for the
There you go.
website. Just everything be badass. So anyway, yes, Todd's on the show, and oh my God, there's your girl Stephanie Wyan.
Yes.
Oh my God, what an incredible night tonight.
You in the house?
The guy's like, I ain't paying those goddamn taxes.
Fuck that. Imagine if you had to live with Todd if you won the house.
How many great mullets were there?
You had to
in
run
Austin
D'Lo
area?
Brown's. You had to run D'Lo Brown's fucking pimp ring out of the back room.
Yes. Yes. And hang all the Godfather's vests on the clothesline. Yes, indeed. She was so, look at her. She was so exciting.
Yeah,
Stephanie
she was.
Wyan. She was so pumped.
Her hair was awful.
Yeah, well, it was 1995, for God's sake, speaking of mullets. Yeah, Todd's great. And Todd's probably commenting on his mullet now. But in any event, yes, you will keep tabs. Marion Hossa out for the Blackhawks tonight. Apparently he got injured during warm-up, so one of the Blackhawks' biggest snipers will not be in the lineup tonight.
How do you get injured in hockey warm-ups? Pull a muscle, I guess?
I guess. Remember how vague injuries are in hockey. It's the upper body and lower body because they don't want...
Yeah.
I finally figured out why. I never figured out why do they do that. And I figured out because the way the game is played, you don't want to tell somebody
Right.
what the injury is, lest someone can focus on it.
Speaking of injuries, Scott, I was dinged up kind of severely in basketball tonight. I was stepping in to draw a charge, and our friend Eric turned midair and kind of clubbed me with his back, went straight up, jacked up my jaw, head shot back, and I don't know. I thought I needed the impact test for a minute there. I was a little cloudy, had to stop for a minute, and then even the next 10 minutes or so, I felt a very, as SummerSlam 99 would tell us, very out-of-body experience for a while. I plugged along and eventually got it together, but my jaw is in serious pain. So if you hear me start to mumble or speak incoherently or babble along, please call 911 for me.
Yes, I will exactly. And don't be like, we don't be like Jerry on Raw and you start going, start making weird noises. We're really screwed.
The fucking weather was crazy tonight, though. We're playing, it was beautiful out, and then all of a sudden, wind started swirling, and it got fucking pitch black. Like someone just legit draped a blanket over the sky. And the wind was going crazy, so we started making up, as we're playing, we're making precautionary plans for if it starts pouring, who's going to put the hoop back, who's going to grab what. Mm-hmm. So, probably about 7 or 8 minutes of this, where the darkness is just, it was like the plague fucking coming. It was crazy. And then things swirling, wind swirling, and then it just slowly passed and never even rained, and we finished our game. I've never played, in weather like that, where it legit just looked like a fucking twister was coming through. And then as we were leaving, it started to rain a little bit, so we finished just in time, but... just crazy. You could see it far away coming as we were playing, and then before we knew it, it was just half of the court was just dark, and you couldn't even see. It was just it was nuts. It was really crazy.
Well, it's funny you say that because about 3 o'clock, I'm at work, and our man Dr. G calls me and says, "What's the weather like in Stamford?" I look out the window. I try and get Lumpy Rotella's head out of the way. I'm like, I don't know. Sun's out, little clouds. Why? He goes, "You're not going to believe what happened." He lives across my town here in Norwalk, and he's like, "It was like, no pun intended. It was like Armageddon. I mean,
Yeah.
Sky was dark, swirling rain, water flying down the street, and then it went away."
Yeah, it was crazy.
I said, "Well, it's funny. It must have been some kind of weird diagonal thing because it didn't hit Stanford. It was very strange, and it ended up being his daughter's softball game was canceled. So very weird. If she was playing in Norwalk." She probably would have played, but in New Canaan, which is one town to the west of Norwalk, it got rained out. So, yeah, I know where you're coming from because I looked out the window in Stamford and everything was fine. And he calls me and, Norwalk is being, attacked by the Undertaker or something. But,
It was nuts.
Yeah, it was really weird. So.
Hey, what is going on here?
Are you done yet? Isn't school out yet, Tubby? You're not gonna be
that
sitting there
means he's going to be here even longer hours.
Good God. Summer school, I guess, right? Did Zach ever go to summer? No, there were never any summer school episodes. They went to the beach or something.
Yeah, they had the
one
beach club with Mr.
beach club and
Carosi.
everything. Yeah, so.
Stacey
All right.
Carosi.
Yes. Tonight, JR, as we mentioned, it is the end, not only of the calendar year, the end of a decade. We go back in time, JR, to Orlando in January of 1990. Has the landscape changed?
Yeah, huh? When you think about that first pay-per-view, Hulk Hogan winning the 90 Rumble,
Yep.
him and Warrior had the showdown to set up WrestleMania 6. Mm-hmm. Very crazy. Even a year prior to this.
Yeah.
A lot of the same players, but very different landscape when you think about it. And wrestling as a whole, when we wrapped up 98, WCW, it was still really in the mix, and them and the WWF were battling. And by this point, WWF had firm control, but as we'll see a little bit, WCW kind of having a little bit of a resurgence. You know, I was reading through CRZ's old Raw and SmackDowns today to build up to this show, and they, there was concern that WCW was starting to pick up some momentum, and he even says in one of the reviews that WWF needed to deliver big time on the November 29th episode, which we'll get to later.
Yep.
Or they thought WCW was really starting to make some inroads. When you looked at the ratings for a couple weeks there, WCW had pulled within 3 points, which was pretty big at this time. It was like 6-1 to like 3-3 or something like that. And so they were getting some resurgence under Vince Russo for mainly the initial curiosity. And the WWF booking with Austin out hurt was getting a little bit stale, a little bit stagnant. But the 11/29 Raw completely changed everything. We'll talk about that, and this is, to me, this is where they break out of that malaise that we've seen since like Unforgiven, when we lost Taker and Russo left, and Vince kind of came back in that different role, and then Austin went out, and a lot of changes and a lot of a malaise kind of as they rebooted the booking and the writing and kind of turned things around. So to me, this is where they really kick it into high gear and blow past WCW. So over this next month or so.
Yes, and besides, it may be the end of a decade, but it's the beginning of an era. I was hoping you'd hum the open, but that's all right.
Oh, Armageddon.
Show Armageddon with Ben Affleck. Love that movie. Tonight, of course, inside the Vintage.
I don't want to miss a thing.
Visions of Jeff trying to eat a hot dog while he's on some other universe. Tonight, in the Vintage Vault on the Place to Be podcast, it is indeed the final pay-per-view of the decade, Armageddon 1999.
When did the movie come out? Had that already come out at that point? Oh, obviously,
movie?
right? Because we
talked
about it in the show.
Yeah, it did. Movie came out in 97.
Was it?
No, maybe it did. Maybe it didn't come out until like 2000.
No, it was before this because.
So I think it must have been 97.
Talk about it.
Yeah, it must have been 97.
Well, it had to be 97 or 2000. Those are the only options.
Well, if you were doing it in an RSV, then it had to have been after 96.
It was 98.
All right.
July 1st, 98. Almost 15 years to the day.
Yeah, there we go. And of course,
with the maybe I'll save this for the trivia for Derek Cornett. NASA puts Harry and his crew through a short and rigorous astronaut training program. They re-outfit the mobile drillers named the Armadillos.
The Armadillos.
Who used on the
Write that down. Cornett, that's your winning question. All right. And as mentioned, we debut a new pay-per-view title. It seems like they're finally settling in, JR, to some nice titles.
Yeah.
Start getting the monthlies.
Well, December had been the last 3 years have been kind of the personalized ones. We had It's Time was supposed to be about Vader. We had DX in 97 and the Rock Bottom in 98. So now we kind of settle into an actual set title for the for the December shows.
Yes. So, and as JR mentioned, what seemed like a malaise has suddenly gets turned around. We finally get a foundation. Because, it's funny, we always talk about Survivor Series being the beginning of the build to WrestleMania. But really, JR, even after last month's pay-per-view, which, of course, we did last week in the Vintage Vault, it didn't feel that way. It didn't feel like we were about to start a new arc.
Right.
Things still seem very temporary and very, in limbo. But as you mentioned earlier, as we'll talk about tonight, things will no longer be in limbo at all. The foundation of the road to WrestleMania, even though it still have its peaks and valleys, is being set here. So, all right. December 12th. I know you're in a rankled mood.
I'm very rankled.
In a very rankled mood, but you'll get your chance later. December 12th, 1999. Live from the NCR Center in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, right in Dr. G's backyard right there.
I like how they say NCR to make it sound kind of snazzy when it's just National Car Rental.
No, actually, it's the National Car Rental Center. It's in. It's actually in Sunrise, technically. Yep. The suburb of Sunrise, actually where Dr. G and where Dr. G's sister currently live. It's actually right near the Sawgrass Mall. Mm-hmm. And first time we've been there, JR, so give us a little background.
Kind of crazy. It seems like we've been here before. Broke ground in 96, opened October 3rd, 98, so very new at this point. Located on 1 Panther Parkway in Sunrise, Florida. Architect was Ellerby Beckett. Holds 20,737 for hoops. Florida Panthers play there. The Florida Pit Bulls of the ABA. The Florida Bobcats of the AFL. The Florida Thundercats of the NPSL. And the Miami Caliente of the LFL. Played there for a year. Cha-cha.
Now, what was the attendance for hoops?
2737. Hockey 19,250. Concerts 2763.
Okay. The attendance on this evening, 15,749. So not a total sellout.
Yeah.
But it is December. December pay-per-views always slump a little. For, it's Christmas time. People are
I'm
buying
telling you, the
gifts and
product
stuff.
was down just a bit. I mean, the ratings were still good, and everything was still fine. They were healthy. But there definitely was concern with Vince going public. That was kind of a hit that happened at this time, like we talked about. And Austin going down. There was a lot of... I remember this time well. It's very similar to that like end of 97 run, where things you kind of said, oh, what's going on? Is Taker leaving? Is so-and-so leaving? Brett's gone. And, wow, they're going to be in trouble, serious trouble. And then, they steadied the ship. And that happened a little bit here coming out of Survivor Series. With Russo going to WCW was a big talking point at that time. A lot of pundits and fans really thought they were going to bounce back. Because there's no sign of them dying. I mean, they they were still strong enough financially. They had lost some money, but it seemed like they still had the talent to rebound with Russo going there. So the nail was not in the coffin yet for that company.
No, it wasn't. And
this was their last chance, but...
Right. And obviously, yes, Austin was hurt, but at the moment, because he wouldn't have the surgery for a few weeks. I think it was the first week of January would he actually have the neck surgery.
Right. They announced it on... it was either Raw or SmackDown leading into the show. They announced it.
Yeah.
So yeah. They said he's officially has to have it. And don't forget, remember, they after he had... actually, I think he did have it. No, what did they... It was something, because then they showed him making the H-Blocks video. I think they just announced he was hurt, and then they showed the H-Blocks video, even though it technically happened after the car attack in Survivor Series. They pretended like it was filmed beforehand.
Yes, that was. Yes, I do remember that. But I'm pretty sure that the surgery. I'm gonna double check real quick before we move on. I'm pretty sure that the surgery was after the first of the year. But double check.
I was just talking about that Sunday Night Heat. Very interesting match. Al Snow defeated Test. Now that's two guys that had both involved in major storylines at this time. Snow was probably getting the push of his career. And Test, we'll talk about Test, but the fact that he's in this pre-show losing to Al Snow was just a monster drop-off for this guy from what he had been involved in. And again, we'll get to that shortly. But there's your one Heat match on the night.
Wiki does not have a date. It just says Dr. Lloyd Youngblood did the surgery. Does not say when. But I could have sworn that it was...
I think you're right. I think it's like January.
Yeah, I think it was like January... it doesn't seem... Even Lloyd Youngblood actually has a wiki page, but it doesn't... it mentions Steve Austin. Well, it says in 2000. So it was definitely like January.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Right.
So at the time, he was definitely like, we don't know what was going on.
Right.
So that and the combination of Russo, I agree, JR. I mean, I don't think it's as dire as 97.
No, but there was some hope in the air for WCW fans and a little bit of hand-wringing for loyalists of the WWF. They were just a little bit.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say that they were going to put him out of business, but let's put it this way. The Monday Night War might have been revived.
Right.
I
think it was wishful thinking on some people's parts, too.
Yeah, you wanted them to stick around. Of course you did. People wanted to. The only ones who didn't want two companies were the two companies.
Right.
But... So, any event. And so, 15,749. So, not a total sellout. It's still a good crowd. But again, it's December. They always have that kind of slump with, it's Christmas time. People, can't afford tickets unless you're getting them as gifts. But, people are buying Christmas presents and things. The buy rate, 0.94, which is pretty good. And your commentators, as usual, the voices of the Attitude Era, good old JR, Jim Ross, and, of course, Jerry the King Lawler. You mentioned Heat, but there was a match on Heat. I'm not sure if you mentioned it. I was checking the thing.
Yeah,
but there was
it.
a match on.
I talked about it and the ramifications, so we can move along.
Very bad.
Yep.
Very bad, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What happened? What happened?
Well, we'll talk about it as we move along. Let's mosey on.
Let's mosey on up. All right. Our opener is something we've seen more than once in 1999. Multi-team number one contender matches.
Yeah, this is the first time, though. This is the first time for this format, though. Oh, actually, we had a format like this for the titles themselves. Oh, no, for number one contender. You're right, at WrestleMania. So
yeah. And then there was another one, No Mercy? No, not No Mercy. Or
no, those were, we've had scrambles and turmoils and everything else, but this is only the second Battle Royal.
Yes. The following teams were in a tag team battle royal to determine the number one contender for the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships and the titles. And they did say ahead of time, I think JR mentioned it, that the match would take place at the home office in January. Here are your teams. The Acolytes, who watching today, JR, definitely do not have the symbols on their chest.
Did they have the Hell's Henchman shirts yet?
No, they just came out in their tights. They didn't have any shirts, and they were just their bare chested.
I don't know if they had
in their tights. Yeah, no, I didn't see them yet. Rodney and Pete Gass, Mean Street Posse,
still ticking over there.
Still ticking, complete with sweater vests,
and still hanging with the Bulldog a lot.
Yes, and we'll talk about him.
I can't believe that union was still going on. What an odd pairing.
And it was an odd pairing. We'll talk more about it in a couple matches because we see them again. Speaking of guys knocking around, Mosh and Thrasher, the Headbangers.
Oh, yeah.
Still knocking around.
We'll be knocking around a little bit more here in PTB Nation. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a little bit. Here, another push-together team, the Godfather and Mark Henry, who didn't we say should have been together to begin with? Yes. And they weren't at the Survivor Series.
Yeah, they're back together here, of course, because Godfather had been helping Mark Henry with a sex addiction. They got a big pop. I think one of the biggest pops of the match coming out. Yeah. I mean, no surprise with the hose, but
yeah, pretty crazy. Too Cool, we mentioned, kind of getting back in the groove. Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty Too Hottie. Edge and Christian.
Just a quick digression on Too Cool. So they come back. We talked about them briefly, but they have the hip hop thing and everything else going on, and they had a brand new union with a third guy. I'll talk about shortly. But this is to the point now where they got the music we all know, they got the look, and really kind of turning face at this point already off the heel run. So
yeah, and we'll talk about that guy in a little bit too. Did I just hear some thunder? I know there might be a storm coming through the area, so keep your fingers crossed.
You can't have the thunder if you don't have the lightning.
Yeah, well, it might be both. The way I was hearing on the radio, so we'll see. And speaking of, again, they're a third partner in crime. Where is our man, Brew Baker?
He's out getting the boat ready.
He's getting the boat ready that they almost about to lose, but it never works. We should live chat every episode. That'd be great.
We should just do a podcast on the whole series.
Yes. Speaking of series, JR, I was listening to the archives over the weekend. Of course, placetobe.podbean.com also with our archives. Episode 71, which was the SummerSlam 93 Vault. We may still have to do this, we mentioned a coach podcast. Possibly. And that was...
I think we did that. Vince did that for us, I thought.
That's true, yes. So Vince covered it, so never mind. But this show's got a lot of stuff going on. Another debuts, and it's crazy. And we'll talk about Too Cool in a little bit because their buddy is, although he's not their buddy at the moment.
Yeah, he is.
So why was he? Oh, it's very weird.
Yeah, they were buddies already. They pretty much hooked up right out of the gate for this guy's debut,
which makes his appearance later on in the show kind of odd.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. Edge and Christian, of course, stalwarts now of the tag division. Mm-hmm. The newcomers, who we've already seen a couple of times. And that is
Dudley Boys.
And that, you already could tell that...
Scott, can you talk about... I gotta stop doing that before it becomes a...
Yeah, no. And in my opinion, you can already tell that Vince is like, they're not doing this anymore.
Well, he still does it here though. Bubba still does the.
He does do it here, but I'm saying no. I know he does it here, but you can tell. But you can tell watching it's like Vince isn't gonna deal with this much longer. And finally, of course, the winners of the tit, winners of the tit, and that is of course Matt and Jeff, the Hardy Boys.
They
with Terry, who came out, and then she walked up about halfway, and then left.
Oh, so that's her great managerial skills. That was worth the money. Do you think
Jerry was very upset?
Kind of impressive here how quickly Edge and Christian and the Hardys have become like the veterans of the tag division. Like it feels like it was just like July where they were like the youngsters, and now they kind of feel like you said, kind of the stalwarts or the torchbearers of the tag division, along with the Acolytes. So to me, those are the three teams that are really taken over as like the main focus. You know, you get the Outlaws and Rock and Sock, and kind of on the outskirts. But as far as like legit tag teams, not out in the main event world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because these other teams are either just starting out, or we haven't seen them in a while.
Yep.
So if you feel like the Hardys and Edge and Christian have been on camera pretty much for the last 5 months. Think about it. The Acolytes have been back and forth. Posse aren't really a team. Headbangers back and forth. Mm-hmm. Godfather Mark Henry, the only team ever once in a great while. Too Cool is just starting. The Dudleys are just starting. So, when you look at these teams on the screen...
crazy at this point. We keep saying the Dudleys just started. I mean, even them and the Hollies have been around since August now. So even them have been around almost half a year. Tag division really taking shape. You look at the teams here. We have, 8 teams in this match, all pretty legitimate. And then we got another, 3 teams later pretty much. So tag division really, really starting to solidify and pick up steam here as 99 rolls along.
Yes, and... Again, this was a battle royal, so all the teams were in together at the same time. The winner would get a World Tag Team Championship match the following month at the home office. Yeah. The eliminations. Now, I'm trying to remember, I remember catching a little of it. I was listening to it more than watching it today. Was it one guy if one guy's eliminated, they're both out?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So the Mean Street Posse are out first. Big shock.
Of course, yeah. Not a surprise.
Yeah. Then the Headbangers.
Well, they actually did Joey Abs came in to help, and Roddy and Abs actually eliminated. The ref didn't see it, and then Pete Gas got thrown out. So
yes. So, so they're out first. Then the Headbangers. And I don't know if that's exactly it for them, but...
No, they're around into 2000. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if they're on pay-per-view again, though. Maybe.
I think they are.
I'm trying to remember.
I think they are.
Might be. Then Godfather Mark Henry, eliminated. Then Too Cool get eliminated. And then so the last 4 teams, the Acolytes, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, and the Hardys, and you're like, well, realistically, any of these teams. Now, at this point, JR, if you remember back when you were watching it, who were you picking of the last 4? Who did you think?
I'd say either Edge and Christian or the team that won.
Okay.
I definitely didn't think the Dudley Boys yet.
No, I didn't think so either. I was leaning actually more towards the Hardys, actually.
Yeah, they were getting a decent run. I mean, they were facing off of the Outlaws on Raw. They had some good feuds going, and definitely, I mean, the last team here, Edge and Christian go out, then the Dudleys go out, and then we're down to the Hardys and the Acolytes. And of course, Farouk would take advantage, eliminate Jeff.
Yep.
And the Acolytes win the Battle Royal. Mm-hmm. And are in the title match at the Rumble. So a lot of stuff cool going on with the Acolytes as well. They're still doing the poker stuff and taking advantage of guys backstage and drinking at the table. And the evolution continues. And I think by our next show, they'll finally reach that point we've been waiting for.
Yes. So there you go. The Acolytes are your number 1 contenders.
Acolytes.
For the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team titles. And they will face some team, we'll wonder who, later on.
Wonder,
at Madison Square Garden. Wonder who? At Madison Square Garden. What? Wow.
It's an oldie for you.
There you go. They will face somebody next month at the Garden, not the Garden. There's activity there tonight at the Garden for the world titles. Next up, 2 of your favorite guys, JR. First off,
fucking dream match for me, baby. So that's
Right.
like Coco and Akeem territory.
Yes. We have Steve Blackman, who's he's been pretty active the last few months in '99. Right, he's been on both shows. And do you feel though he was kind of, in a weird way, kind of left at the altar when Shamrock left?
A little bit. Yeah, he hasn't been doing much really since that feud, just kind of on TV here and there. So it's kind of surprising when he gets thrust into this little storyline, which
Yes.
we'll talk about momentarily.
Yes, and his opponent is another one of your favorites, but slowly growing up the ladder.
You need to practice this more.
I know it's getting. I do actually, and probably because I had it on.
Maybe I'm amazed at the way you love me all the time. Maybe I'm afraid of the way I love you. Maybe I'm amazed at the way you pull me out of time. You hung me on a line. Maybe I'm amazed at the way I really need you.
I've decided that your love is so strong. The thunder is shaking my apartment.
I still
I've
love
decided,
how when
JR,
you
that I'm going to counter your awesome mid '90s R&B hooks with my, as usual, mid to late '70s classic rock hooks. So
I still love how I still love how yours sound like they're from like a '78 Buick or something. On the
that's an older. That was actually a live cut. That wasn't even a studio cut. That was a live
fucking
cut.
mono coming through.
Yes,
Not even stereo.
but it makes. I think it makes it even more sentimental. That's what
It
I
does.
think.
It does.
You don't want it
I was
too
getting very
jazzed
wistful.
up. Loses its love. It loses its. Of course, we're talking about JR's Mr. All-American, the great Kurt Angle. I kind of dig that he's getting into these random.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say random. They're not random.
No.
But these kind of like one-off shot feuds to kind of get himself, warmed up.
Well,
for
he
what was
he
probably
picked
gonna
up
be a
steam
feud.
fast. I mean, his promo work was great, and he had an angle where he was actually teaming with Blackman. They wrestled, I think it was like 3 consecutive matches. They won 2 of them, and Angle kept doing these crazy over-the-top celebrations, and Blackman would just stand there staring at him. And then on the SmackDown before this, they lost a tag match to the Dudleys. Blackman got pinned, and Angle immediately gets the mic and says, "That doesn't count as my loss. I'm still undefeated," because Blackman was pinned, and then Blackman attacked him. So a cool little mini angle to set the match up here. And Angle gets on the mic, and he bitches about some more about the fans not cheering for him and all this other stuff. And he did the same thing on Raw and SmackDown, complaining about them wanting to cheer for cheaters and everything else, and not an Olympic hero. Right. And he had introduced his 3 I's: intensity, integrity, and intelligence by this point. And it was great stuff. He had really already just started to build up a great following and had really delivered some great moments on Raw. All the things with him and Blackman were on our best of WWF comp tape.
Yes.
Which is great. So,
Yes.
I dug this little feud, and this is a solid match. Goes about 7 minutes. Angle gets the win. Blackman puts him over, and Blackman part of that guard that's quickly starting to fade. Although he hangs around a little bit more prominently than most into 2000.
Right. And it's sad that he's got to linger, because really he hasn't even gotten a fair shake to make an impact.
Do you feel like 2 years has flown by with Blackman, and
Yes.
it feels like he's still new?
Yes.
Like,
very
doesn't
much
it feel
so.
like he's still
because he's
done
because
anything?
because it seems like he's not around all the time. It seems like there's holes there, there's gaps, and he never got a fair shake. I concur with you 100% on that. He does feel new, because it seemed like he would have something on TV and then maybe a pay-per-view match, and then he'd be gone for not gone, but it would be under the radar for 2 months. Then come back. Remember, he had the whole King of the Ring thing, that hilarious thing with Vince, and where he doesn't know what Steve Blackman. And Blackman look in his face like, "What am I doing here?" And then he was gone again. And then he would start the feud with Shamrock, and then he was gone again. And that's what it was. It was kind of almost like, even though this guy was on more, almost like Jeff Jarrett. It was like missed opportunities. In Jarrett's case, he had plenty of chances, and it seemed like he didn't totally deliver. But in Blackman's case, it's more like, he gets one chance, and then he kind of vanishes. And then he comes back for a couple months, and he vanishes. It's very weird. So, yeah, it does seem like 2 years have flown by, because all told, it's more like he's had about, 3 months worth of action, at least on pay-per-view. So it's very, very weird. Very, very weird. But yeah, that was a great match here for Kurt in a very short. Take it out. Oh.
There it is.
So, but it's sad that we have to say that though, JR, that Kurt or that Blackman's kind of out of step, and it's really he's not. But I think I don't know what you think about this, but even when Russo was there, I feel like as talented as he was and as really good workers he was, they never really took the time or effort to do something with him. You know, like
you think it was his lack of promo skills kind of sunk him?
Nah, not really. There were a lot of guys whose promo skills sucked in this stretch that got more time than him. I think it was. I mean, was his skills great? No, but it's kind of sad that had to be a main reason. I mean, of course, the bookers, and this includes Russo, were not in that frame of mind yet about like having assassin type guys until we get to 2000, and then we really start to, and then eyes are open. But that's Kresge. That's not Russo. He didn't have that. He could care less what the guys were like in the ring. We all know that at this point. Kresge was very different, but Kresge was still trying to, restock the shelves and kind of set things up for himself and for the company. So, but it's sad that Blackman would lose his shot, and we'll explain kind of why, over the next couple of vaults, because holes would be filled. But Angle wins. Really good match for 7 minutes, and it was a taste of what was to come from a guy who could make anybody look good. And the other guy in the company that can make anybody look good was not in the company at the moment. He didn't have that rep yet. I think he would regain that rep when he came back a couple years later, and we all know who we're talking about. But Angle was that same kind of guy, and we would see that resume grow throughout the months, particularly 2000 into 2001. So he gets a win. He's 2-0, and it moves on to the new millennium.
Comments from Test. I know, Steve Blackman, there's something you have to say.
You bet your ass there is. Shamrock, it's real simple. I'll step into your world, the Lion's Den, if you step into mine. And that is weapons all around the cage. And anyone bad enough to get one can use it. So, this way, this thing's got to end one way or another.
He was up there with Andy Flanagan's finest RSV work.
Yes. And then he curb stomps Terry Taylor. All right, so there you go. Kurt Angle wins. Now, next up, JR, probably one of the most iconic moments in the history of the Attitude Era. This is pretty much the moment that lives in infamy as the moment that sports entertainment kind of lowbrow themselves. It is a title match.
They had to do it.
Yeah, they had to do it. They had to test it. They had to test it. At this point, they felt like they were walking on water. They did change the rating. We'll get to that in a minute. This is a title match for the World Wrestling Federation Women's Championship. The participants are Jacqueline, Ivory, Barbara Bush. No, not that one. And Miss Kitty. We all know who Miss Kitty is.
You wish it was the other Barbara Bush.
Well, there's their daughter. She's hot, so that wouldn't be a problem.
Well, Mr. Crispola, how are you on this fine evening?
Wow. The storm rolls in, and in comes the Titan.
You didn't think I'd miss the opportunities to watch my favorite match of all time, did you?
Yes, that's quite. I had that in the back of my mind. It was quite true.
These sexy bitches dancing in the swimming pool for the Giante's pleasure.
Giante.
We have Miss Jacqueline. We have Avriz. We have George W. Bush, and we have Miss Titty, all dancing in the pool for El Giante's enjoyment.
I need to mention this to you briefly, Giante.
Yes.
Looking back through our archive of awesome place to be podcasts, I completely forgot, and I don't know if you've stuck with this, but I totally forgot about the French Canadian portion of your of your existence.
Well, you know, Mr. Crispolo, sometimes we receive gimmicks we're not fans of. We get shoehorned into these gimmicks given us to us by creative. I was thrust into this gimmick of French-Canadian. I did not appreciate it. I quickly gained momentum, and once I got over with the fans, I was able to dictate my own future. And now look at me, I work a part-time schedule like The Undertaker.
That is true, you do. How is the singing tour going?
Oh, it's going beautifully, Mr. Crispolo. I heard you sampling some of my lyrics at your 50th birthday party. How was that?
Oh, it was tremendous, Giante. I got your RSVP. I know you were down in Buenos Aires, and there were a lot of women there for you. There was actually a chair in the middle of the table waiting for you to bring the dancers. It's quite all right. We had a great time anyway.
Me and the Germans, we don't get along very much. I was not able to make it.
I figured it.
All right, Mr. Crispolo, I'm just here to watch. I'm going to sit in the back while you talk about this match. And, maybe I'll take care of my hairy man suit and my hairy man pleasure sword as you talk about the Miss Titty.
Yes. Thank you all.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
A nice little treat here on a Monday night.
Did I tell you what he actually got me? I didn't want to embarrass him, but you know what he actually got me for my birthday?
You got you something?
Yeah, he got me a 500 box pack, a box of condoms, and a VIP pass to Larry Flint's Hustler Club in New York City.
Are those 500 condoms supposed to be retroactive? It's like the disabled list in baseball. You can go back till the last time.
And the problem was the VIP pass expired.
Oh.
In 1999.
Well, maybe Xavier will be working the door and you can
figure. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Get you in.
Yes. All right. So we have a Four Corners evening gown swimming pool match. The point of the gimmick is, or the stipulation is, you have to take off somebody's dress.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be everybody. Just the first one to take off somebody's gown wins.
And now and before we get to that, Mr. Criscola, we have a goal in the hockey game at 17:47 remaining in the second period. Your Boston Bruins take a 1-0 lead. Woohoo! On a goal by, let me just confirm here, I think it's Mr. Campbell. Pay attention. A lot of scrum in front of the net. I got worried after we jinxed them during game one. They lost, and things were looking kind of dark in game two.
Yeah, they played terrible in the first period, game two.
I can't tell if it might have been Paille. I don't know. I'll confirm with you as we move along. But
all right. Well, Paille, of course, scored the big OT goal on Saturday night. They played awful first period of game one. Blackhawks outshot them 19-4. They looked sluggish. I mean, I had said to you the second overtime the other night, their legs were tired and they showed it, but then they found something, and Tuukka's played out of his mind. They tied the game, and then Paille scored about 6 minutes to go in the first overtime. So, all right, now
we'll get to this match.
Obviously, you weren't going to expect much out of this, correct?
No. Well, Ivory's still your champion, still doing the prude shtick.
Mm-hmm.
BB was the nurse, or the EMT we've seen now for a couple months. She had kept coming out, and it was clear that we were supposed to get to know her at some point. She had the big boobs busting out of the shirt.
Yes.
And really playing that up. And finally she was attacked, thrown in the turkey gravy on the Thanksgiving episode of SmackDown, and then revealed that her name was, of course, Barbara Bush. Very Russo-esque.
Yes.
Like Sears, had a good line. He said, what, they couldn't go with Pamela Pussy?
Yes.
But yeah, a very obvious name.
Yes.
So Barbara Bush. Jacqueline's still hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird. And Miss Kitty kind of breaking a little bit away from Chyna. Chyna actually nominated her for this match, and Kitty got a little sheepish and revealed that she doesn't wear underwear.
Oh. Mm-hmm. That was a Russo thing. But you think this was booked retroactive to Russo leaving? Or do you think,
I don't think
Vince told Crest, we got to keep this match?
I don't think you can use that as any any barometer. I think they could have changed anything they wanted. So I don't think at this point we could really pin anything on Russo outside of maybe like major pushes that may be still going on.
Yeah.
But something like this, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And just to confirm, it was Mr. Daniel Paillet with a goal approximately 2:20 into the second period.
That's 2 goals back to back. Again, he scored the OT goal on Saturday night and first goal here. So 1-0 Bruins in a buzzing TD Gadden. How much you think the $3 Gants are flowing at Sully's now?
Mm-hmm.
One of our favorite places, Chandler. All right. So again, the match is barely 3 minutes, as if we could stomach any longer than that. And Miss Kitty takes off, of course, the prude herself, Ivory's dress. Ivory runs off in the darkness of the NCR arena. And Miss Kitty is your new World Wrestling Federation Women's Champion.
And this was played up like a major shock, a major update. Upset. And she had Moolah and Mae Young were the special guest referees at ringside for this nonsense. 3 minutes of them just romping around the pool. So Kitty wins. She gets up and says, she promised that she was going to put on a show here tonight. Mm-hmm. So they hit the music, the stripper music. She takes her dress off and reveals very skimpy, soaking wet undergarments.
Yes, a strapless bra.
And then, in the moments that would resonate in the minds of many prepubescent and pubescent teenagers, Miss Kitty takes her top off, and for the first time in wrestling pay-per-view history, we get intentional female nudity as she bares her breasts for the world to see for a split second before Sergeant Slaughter covers her with a coat, drags her away to enormous heat. Then Mae Young gets up on the stage, and she teases that she's going to do the same, and they cover her and drag her off as well.
Yeah, thank God.
The Kitty, they had to do it. We're in the Attitude Era. They had gone this far. We got Sable with the handprints, and at some point they were just going to roll the fucking dice and do it. And Kitty was the one brave enough to go out there and say, fuck it, I'll do it. I don't give a shit. And like you said, they changed the rating. And in a funny little moment, Scott, you are very familiar with Mr. Jim Price's dubbed copies of his tapes, right?
I am indeed.
The ones that have the random blurg of snow that comes on every 7 minutes or so due to the box he used to record.
Yes.
And of course, Scott Criscolo on the copy of Armageddon 99. When does that blurring occur? Right as Miss Kitty reveals her top. Of all moments.
Almost like he did it on purpose.
This idiot could have missed.
That's what happens when your box comes off the back of a truck that says, Hey,
that thing had a good run, man, that box. That was 1990, that thing fucking...
Hard trivia question for later on in the tournament. When was the first time you watched a pay-per-view off that box? No, I'm just kidding.
Rumble.
You probably
91.
know the answer.
Rumble 91.
Was it? Okay. Rumble 91. And it's still cranking. How much do we have a shelf life?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's dead now. I think it lasts...
No, I know it's dead now, but I'm thinking...
definitely into the 2000s.
Very interesting. Rumble 91. Yes. So Miss Kitty not only bears her kitties, but is the new women's champion. But of course, there is a negative. There's always got to be a negative. And the negative is you have Ivory, who's a legitimately good wrestler, probably the best of the bunch, not counting Chyna. And she's just been absolutely humiliated over the last few months. She loses to somebody who's, 100 years old. And then she loses to somebody who has no wrestling ability whatsoever, yet rips off her top for the world to see.
And those old slags are they were getting so much TV time and so much play. They were they had them at the Billboard Music Awards representing the company. Mae and Moolah.
Mae Young? That's right.
Yeah. They were all over the place. They were all over the Thanksgiving episode, if you remember. They were sitting behind King and JR, and they were involved in the big food fight. And she... they had them front and center, which is just odd, odd stuff. But Miss Kitty is your new women's champion, and that belt continues its slow descent, where probably another 2 years or so until it really gets back up and running.
Yeah, I agree. All right, done with that. Next, interesting tag match here, and again another debut. Well, repackaging, not necessarily a debut. Repackaging. Our pals, the Holly cousins, Bob and
Crash.
Hardcore. Bob and Crash. I was going with the name. I was going to think.
You're the concussion.
I was not going to say. Yes, Bob and Crash, the Holly Cousins, continuing their attacking super heavyweights gimmick, taking on Viscera,
Big Viscera,
and again a returning former in your house superstar.
By God, it's Rikishi. Rikishi Fatu had been gone since he portrayed the Sultan, late 97, early 98. Started training with the Funks, kind of getting himself back into gear. November 13th episode of Metal, Rikishi returned, defeated Julio Fantastico. Had a sumo wrestling, I guess Rikishi's name is similar to Yokozuna with sumo wrestling. And then he became known as Rikishi Fatu. Of course, the Fatu, now spelled as Phatu, which will come shortly. He had the giant thong on, the sumo wrestling thong, and whole new look. He had blonde hair. And not shortly after his return, he began buddying up with Too Cool. And after he helped them saved them from a brawl, he got involved in the match. He actually ended up dancing with them in the middle of the ring to the now iconic theme song. Became buddies, and after each match they had, or anytime they teamed up or got into a brawl, they'd end up with dancing, and the crowd started loving it immediately, seeing this big fat man with his bare ass dancing in the ring like Adam Murray. It really got over fast, and of course, things really escalated with these teams. On the 12-9 SmackDown, they were in Boston. Too Cool and Rikishi went to a local dance club, and they were dancing, and the Hollies showed up, and they got into a big brawl, and they fought in the bar. Hardcore hit the line of the night, "Your dancing days are over, fat boy," and then he threw wine on Rikishi, and they took off. So Rikishi here teams up with Viscera, just another big fat guy, like you said, just continuing the super heavyweight stuff. And he speaks for the first time on the show. I think it was during Heat. They air it before the match, him and Kevin Kelly, and not his finest promo, but
no.
Yeah.
I was glad to see him back. It's
weird how they just immediately put him with Too Cool. Like, he returns on that jacked and actually defeated Crash with the Rikishi driver on the 11-21. Then on 11-21 on Heat, he beat Tracy Smothers. And then the next night of Raw, he shows up and saves Too Cool. So it's just kind of random. Like, they didn't really build it up at all. It just happened. And he was using a great finisher at this point. The Rikishi driver would not last long, but it was a sit-out pile driver, inverted pile driver that really looked great.
Yes, I love that finisher. Sadly, though, it wouldn't stick around for a few reasons, which we'll get to when we get there. But a move that now probably is outdated, probably couldn't be used now. Or maybe it could be. Maybe as a setup. But back then, it was pretty badass. I wish it was used more. So we have this weird tag match. The Holly Cousins taking on Rikishi, Fatu, and Viscera. The match is short, thankfully. And obviously we needed to kind of establish that Rikishi was not a heel.
Right.
So what happens is Viscera goes for his... I mean, in this move, this spin kick by Viscera may be just as bad as that Andre turnover suplex thing.
Yes.
It's absolutely terrible.
It's kind of impressive, though, for a guy his size to do.
Yeah. So anyway, he misses. I forgot which one he's supposed to kick. I think it was Crash, and he hits Rikishi instead, and
Rikishi pinned.
And Rikishi is pinned by Hardcore.
Were you surprised they didn't have I mean, what is with the Hollies? First Hardcore goes over at Survivor Series, and now they win here. Are you surprised Rikishi didn't get the win?
No, I'm not surprised. Well, at the moment I was, obviously, but now that we look back, logically it made sense because he needed a reason to separate from Viscera, so...
Not really. I mean...
Well, yeah, kind of, because, I mean, if he's hooked with Too Cool, what was the point of teaming with a bad guy here? It made no sense. I don't know, it's kind of weird. But, yeah, I was a little surprised. But obviously he, Viscera and him argue, and all this other stuff goes down, and they end up brawling. Rikishi thrust kicks him over the top rope, and then he goes down. They start brawling, and that's pretty much it.
What did you think of him being back, though? Did you like the idea of it? Did you?
Absolutely. I thought it was a great guy. I thought it was a good guy to add to the roster because he's a bumper.
I liked his work immediately. Adam and I, another guy that we kind of, I've mentioned different people throughout my life of watching wrestling. Jim was a big one, Andy, Josh, and now at this point, just Adam and I were living, just me and him, sophomore year at this point. So we were just watching Raw and SmackDown. And like I said, we were making the comp tapes as we were going along. So we were really into Rikishi. I liked his high-impact offense, the Rikishi driver, and some of the moves he was doing. We really took to him right away. Something they did very well at this point, starting around this month, was a mix of comedy and action.
Yes.
And seriousness. Like, it wasn't the over-the-top blah comedy of Vince Russo era, and it's not the complete straight seriousness of like we get like in 2001. It's a good mix of the two, and they did it well at this point. And something like this is proof where Rikishi was still dangerous in the ring and a threat, but outside the ring he could be funny and be a cartoon character, and it was a nice mix of the two.
I agree to a certain extent. I feel like there were pockets in 2000 where the seriousness kind of overtook a little bit, and I think it was mostly at the main events. Obviously, there was some comedy in the mid-card and the lower mid-card, but the main events were very, very serious.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. They mixed it well.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't over the top. They just kind of blended it in. And it starts here, to me. Like, there's still a lot of funny stuff we'll see.
Yeah, there is. But they definitely established at the top of the card, obviously all the seriousness. So, but we'll get into that. But yeah, no, I was very excited for Rikishi, or as JR keep calling him, Rakishi.
Yeah, Rakishi.
My God, Rakishi! Yeah, no, I thought he was a great addition to the roster. Needed a big dude who moved well, for a guy with a large posterior. Yeah, no, definitely a guy that I think would have brought a lot to the roster, and he would actually have a pretty good career.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely good 2000. So, and but I'm not now thinking back logically, I'm not surprised at the loss because I do disagree with you slightly. I think they needed to separate him.
No, but my point is they didn't really have to ever team. So
well, no,
it's not like they were a unit. I mean, they only teamed this one time, really.
But you wonder why. If he was already on camera with Too Cool.
I don't know why they didn't just do like him versus Hardcore and have him pin him in a singles match.
Yeah.
Just an odd. I don't. Or you could have still had the miscommunication, but have Rikishi shake it off and get the win. I don't. The weird protection of the Hollies is just odd at this point.
Yeah, it was a little odd. So, all right. So there we go there. So Holly Cousins win, but Rikishi firmly established as a
established. I like it.
Established.
So Miles Standish did when he came to the New World. He established it.
Yes, as a babyface. Incidentally, JR, not only am I marking out here at the awesomeness that is your boy Todd Pettengill, but he's got these awesome cutouts. I wish they'd sell them on the website. We'll put them in the PTBNation.com man cave. They have like full-size stand-ups of Razor and Brett and like all these, like these 90s. So you think they pulled them out of like the warehouse? You think they were made fresh for this thing?
I don't do any tricks.
Well, I know you want a full-size cardboard stand of him.
Or a cockroach. I'm guessing they pulled them out of the warehouse. I think those things are pretty prevalent back in 95 to 96.
Did you ever get the chance to, were they in stores?
No, I think Jim had the Shawn Michaels one or some shit. Yeah, I don't know. It is Shawn Michaels fucking shrine that he had in his room.
Yes. Speaking of Shawn Michaels, I bet you Jim was very sad at this moment. This was the, I believe it's In Your House 3 when he had to forfeit.
In Your House 4.
Title to your boy Dean Douglas.
In Your House 4. In Your House 4.
In Your House 4.
But I just jumped.
Remember when he had like the black eyes? Was that makeup? Or did they like dolly up the fact that he got the shit kicked out of him? I'm trying to remember. Very weird. Anyway, and he had that weird like racing
All right, let's move
jacket. Anyway, okay. Anyway, I highly recommend this so far, and I've only
I stay fit. I watch what I eat.
Yes, you do. You look incredible. He didn't come to the party either. Bummer.
Because I never know when my next match is going to be,
Oh, that's why he didn't come, because he wasn't sure if he was.
He was like, the phone rang as he was leaving, and he didn't know who it was going to be. And
I could have had a ring up in the second floor of the German club because it's a big auditorium kind of thing. So
my last match, I think, was 1991.
Well, the ring was not there in 1991. It might have been. That's when I was a freshman. Maybe something was going on.
So it gets to be a lot longer between matches.
Oh, no kidding. He's not on this.
30 years now.
He's not on this Blu-ray. So, okay. Next up, we have another title match. The World Wrestling Federation European title on the line in a triple threat. Another one of your boys, JR. British Bulldog.
Yeah, bitch. European champion. Number 1.
3-time now? 4-time Intercontinental champion? European champion?
2, I believe.
Yes. Oh, okay. I was giving you more. And then, of course, taking on the 2 co-challengers, the man who pretty much legitimized, next to Bulldog, legitimized the European Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, of course, D'Lo Brown. And guy who's been pretty over, is pretty awesome heel, at this point, and that is Val Venus.
Rhymes with penis.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
if you were watching today, did you love the line? I forgot it was, I don't know what match it was, but JR goes, I've had quite enough of your penis jokes. I'm trying to remember what match it was. It might have been this one, or it might have been I think it might be the tag match, because I think he was making comments about Terry. And he says to King, he says, I've had just about enough of your penis jokes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's so weird, JR just saying that.
Yeah, I did catch that.
Yeah, that's
Not
pretty funny.
penis jokes. No, it's in the Kane match.
Kane match. Okay, then that which comes up, I believe it's
After
next.
this, Val was weird here, though. He was kind of oscillating between face and heel, like week to week, depending on what he was doing. And this match was set as a singles match, him versus Bulldog for the European title. They kept interfering in each other's matches. The week before, D'Lo was put in a match with Val to determine who the number one contender would be. He was trying to wrest away the title shot, and Bulldog interfered and beat both men down, so they made it a triple threat. They put D'Lo in here, kind of giving him something to do. Bulldog's been European champ for a while, but he would lose that belt here as Val gets to win with the money shot at 8:15.
Yep.
And Sally Scott, this would be British Bulldog's final singles pay-per-view match, to making an impressive return to the ring after nearly dying. The Bulldog's pay-per-view run effectively ends with 1999 coming to a close. Bulldog returned to the Federation with much controversy and smack dab in the middle of the nasty lawsuit with the Hart family and the WWF. After Owen's death, a major lawsuit was launched by Martha, and of course Bulldog got mixed up with that. Vince promised him he'd get him a job if he got healthy. He came back, pissed off Brett, pissed off the rest of the family. Whole thing was a big nasty mess, and Bulldog would be gone after January's Royal Rumble. He would make one more quick appearance in April on the European tour, where he traded the hardcore title back and forth with Crash Holly. Other than that, he was basically gone from the major wrestling world until news of his death broke in May of 2002.
So
the story's
sad.
a sad one. It's a big case for anyone directly involved with the Hart family at this time. And Scott, I will ask you, if you don't have it in front of you.
You know what? I do not. I have the Wikipedia Lloyd Youngblood page up. So
Okay. His final pay-per-view record in 44 matches.
44. Wow. Any no contests?
3.
Okay,
So
3.
41 straight decisions.
41 decisions. I'm going to say he was above 500. 25 and 16.
Very close. 23 and 18. And he was actually 23 and 14 heading into this run. He lost all 4 pay-per-view matches in 99 here. So best year was 96, where he picked up 6 wins, appeared on every pay-per-view, and main evented 3 of them. Of course, he was found dead with... what was the whole shenanigans? Wasn't he sleeping with one of the other Hot Brothers' fucking wives or some shit? Wasn't he banging one of the other sisters or some crap?
Was he?
Remember, it was some bizarre fucking story he was with.
And why would you want to? He was married to the hottest one. I mean, what other sister in that family would you want to...
Hang on. No, it wasn't one of the sisters. It was one of... Hang on. It was like one of the brothers' wives or some crap. Andrea Hart, brother of Bruce's ex-wife. They were on vacation in British Columbia. He had a heart attack. Revealed that past anabolic steroid use may have played a role in his death, but they didn't confirm it. Bruce said Davey paid the price with a steroid cocktail and human growth hormone. Smith had actually been intending on resuming his career in 2002. I remember I was actually on vacation during the week before graduation. We were in Naples, and Adam texted me with the new... Well, actually, did we have texting back then? Maybe he called me, I guess. Emailed me.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably called you. Yeah,
yeah, with the news that he had died. So very, very sad. British Bulldog passing away. One of my all-time favorites. What did you think of this run? Are you glad he came back and had this little run here?
Kind of.
It was actually, looking back at these shows and reading the weekly TV and watching the pay-per-views, I feel like he actually did better than I remembered him doing.
Yeah, I agree. You know what bums me out? With all the back and forth and all the flim-flammery with the world title, why not give it to him for a month? Really?
Nah, I don't know.
Why not?
It was a lot of bouncing around and stuff, but don't forget, a lot of it was with top guys. I mean, Vince, but I don't think he fit. I think giving him the European title was kind of like giving him
really,
his
even
title
come on,
back.
even you, a little sentimentality.
No, I think it would have been. I don't know. Nah, I really don't think so. I don't know. I think the European title meant more giving it to him in a way.
Probably, or the Intercontinental title.
No, the European was kind of like his belt.
Yep, yeah, he was the first winner. That is true.
And Scott Criscolo, we have news out of Boston.
Uh-huh.
It is now 2-0 Boston Bruins. It's Patrice Bergeron.
Clutch.
Patrice Bergeron at 14:05 in the second period. Bangs home a goal to make it 2-0.
Clutch. Absolutely clutch. All right, I want to confirm something. I was saying that he was boffing somebody on the side. He wasn't. Him and Diana actually divorced.
Yeah, they were divorced
in early 2000,
Yep.
which is sad. Do you think it was the whole you're a dickhead for going back and fucking?
Well, it depends how much of Martha's shit you believe. I mean, there's all the stories in a book about how Bulldog would drug her up and then rape her and all this fucking crap. So who knows? They're just a fucked up situation.
Yeah. May 6th. We could talk about this since we don't see him again.
Yeah.
In May 6th, 2000 in London, Smith defeated Crash for the hardcore title in one of his last televised appearances, and I was there. The May 11th SmackDown in New Haven, Connecticut. I was there. That was one of his last televised appearances. His last actual televised match. Sunday Night Heat. And with Eddie and with some other people, but we won't get into that. But there you go.
Sad. I mean, really sad. I remember being really upset in 2002 when the news came across. And, yeah, again, one of my favorites, another guy from the era that we grew up watching. But, I mean, not a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that clearly abused tons of steroids and HGH and also had other drug issues.
Well, then, of course, there was the whole hinge on the back.
Yeah, that
led to a lot of painkiller issues. Yeah.
Sad ending for Davey Boy. A guy.
I don't know if you mentioned this a moment ago. While I was checking something on my phone, but did you mention his final match? Period. Who was his opponent?
WWF match or
yes, final WWF match and his career. May 27th house show.
I don't know. Kurt Angle.
Another one of your favorites.
Steve Blackman.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep. May 27th. Smith defeated Steve Blackman at a house show in what would be his final match in both WWE and his career. Early 2000, Diana divorced him, with Smith being given shared custody of their children. At the same time, he entered drug rehab at the behest and expense of Vince.
That's right, yeah. They put him in rehab.
Due to his problems with painkillers, though they were not the only drug he was using, he was released from the company shortly thereafter. And again, May 18th, 2002.
Yeah, very sad. And
passed away.
I'm glad he had this little run to kind of get that last little bounce, even though he had the jeans and the weird music and everything else. But still, he got a decent booking and had another title run here with the European belt and puts over puts over Val. Val is your new champion. We'll talk more about him as we move along. But that's it for the British Bulldog. It's a very sad day.
In your top 10 favorite guys, or if he is, where is he in your top 10 of all time?
Back half somewhere.
Okay.
He's up there, though. He's definitely... I would probably say he's top 10.
What did you love about the Bulldog as a singles guy?
I thought he had good charisma. I think that's overlooked with him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he connected with the fans well. I thought he was underrated as far as psychology in the ring goes. Always kind of being there. Not a guy that could carry great matches, but a guy that could be carried to phenomenal stuff.
Well,
we saw a lot of it with Brett and Owen.
I'm sure one of the matches will be on this Blu-ray set.
I liked him a lot before the 96 run, but the heel turn in late 95 into 96, and 97 was his best year.
Mm-hmm.
He just looked great in 97. And, just very good at comedy, very good at serious angles, could go in the ring when needed, could work as a power guy, could work a quicker match with certain guys, and him and Shawn had great matches, and just my favorite guys to watch.
Yep.
A lot of unintentional comedy with some of his promos. It's a good mix.
Yes. No, I agree. Rest in peace, Bulldog. You're one of PTB Nation's favorites. Always will be. Very sad. And Val Venus, by the way, is your new World Wrestling Federation European title. By the way, this was a triangle match, not a triple threat. If that
right?
Makes
yeah. So
sense.
because it's just first pin wins.
First pin wins, right? And Val Venus is your new European champion. Next, we've been talking about this feud percolating and burbling to the surface and burpling, and we had a match at Survivor Series, and now we have
it's a weird feud. These guys fight a lot with decisive finishes, but the feud keeps going. It's very odd.
Yes. In a rematch and on Heat is where the gimmick would the stipulation would come in. That's right. It does have to be him. And he is taking on his former tag team championship partner,
X-Pac.
Yep.
X-Pac, of course, was part of DX, who had really become the dominant force in the WWF at this point. He was Triple H's right-hand man, and he kept fucking with Kane and Kane's girlfriend, Tori, and he actually even spin-kicked her on one Raw, and Kane was set off by that. So they go inside the cage here. The feud was hot, but still very basic, just a lot of jumping and attacking and taunting of Tori. Things would really pick up after the show. So they go 8 minutes inside the cage, and Kane actually just gets the win with a tombstone. Tori would come in and celebrate with him, so it almost felt like, maybe this is it. As we'll see, it's far from over.
Yes.
But at the time,
No, go ahead, finish your thought.
I was saying, no, at the time, it definitely felt like, oh, maybe this feud's put to bed.
Well, if you remember the stipulation, JR, on Heat, Kane wanted the cage.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted the cage. And X-Pac said, all right, I'll give you the cage on one condition. I get to use the cage to win the match.
Right, yeah, you
and
can.
you don't.
Yep.
Kane had to win the match by pinfall or submission. X-Pac, the door would be chained shut. But X-Pac would be able to crawl out of the cage to win the match.
Yep.
Whereas Kane had to win by pinfall or submission. So X-Pac, doing a little negotiating and got the edge there. And let me tell you something, this actually was a pretty good match. These guys had good chemistry as a team.
They did.
And I thought they had good chemistry as opponents.
Yeah, they did. It's a good feud. And, I mean, you can really put these guys as, like, the team/feud of the year so far. I mean, they really, the stuff as a team was great, and now the feud has been very, very good. And Kane's still playing the sympathetic face very well with Tori, and DX and X-Pac playing the real douchebag heel role.
Yes. And it would get better. And he would amp it up as time would progress. What a year for Kane. I mean, amazing how his character has grown by leaps and bounds. I'm not just talking about going from heel to face, but his in-ring work, he seems a lot more flexible.
Yep.
He got out of the whole I have to wrestle like Taker mode and kind of did his own thing. So he could be an easy candidate for, like, I don't want to say most improved because it's not like 1980 was awful. I mean,
was for part of the year.
Well, he was, but he was also technically kind of his first full year, so you kind of give him a pass for that to a certain extent. He could be a top 5 contender for Wrestler of the Year, just in terms of his what he did for the fans.
He's definitely up there. Him and X-Pac are both up there. Yep.
Yeah, big time. This could be feud of the year. It's not. I mean, obviously there are other ones that were big.
Well, it's not long enough, really. But
it's not long enough.
If you factor in like storyline of the year, I think it's up there.
Storyline of the year, yeah, it goes back to what, April.
Yeah.
So King gets his back, beats X-Pac in the cage. Match a little over 8 minutes, and it's very, very good. Good match. Next up, we have another title match. Jesus, JR, this is our what? 1, 2, third title match of the evening? No, just second. No, this is our third title match of the evening. Yes, women's title, European title. Yes, third title match of the evening. And it is one of the more entertaining feuds that we've seen out of the gate from
causing a lot of hand-wringing in the internet wrestling community, this feud.
Yeah.
A lot of kvetching, and one of those ones that's really had people down on the WWF, if anyone was at the time.
Because, they thought it was, here we go again.
Yep.
We're talking about your World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion, Chyna, taking on a guy who she defeated the previous month at Survivor Series, Y2J, Chris Jericho. So obviously, if you're talking about Jericho, you're talking about, fan favorite and an IWC darling, and now they're like, he's not only does he have to feud with a woman, he's losing to her.
Yes.
And that pissed a lot of people off. Now,
Survivor Series angered a lot of people.
Yes, it did. So the next night, Jericho was going to take on Gangrel. Chyna comes from the back and starts, breaking his balls that, you little bitch, and I beat you, ha, ha, ha. Well, this is one of my favorite Jericho moments, early Jericho moments. Later in the show, Jericho grabs a cameraman, brings him over to a dark room back in the bowels of whatever arena they were in that night, and it was revealed he had duct taped her to a chair. And he went on this crazy, very un-Jericho-like, deranged lunatic rant about how, you won by a fluke, and I'm better than you, and all this other stuff, and I'm going to take you out. And then, to be really vicious, he grabs a hammer, and he smashes Chyna's hand with it. I mean, that was nuts. I loved it. I thought it was great. Jericho had snapped. He had lost it, realizing that he did not take Chyna seriously, and it cost him big time. And Chyna was in deep shit. She had broken her hand in several places. The following week on SmackDown, Chyna returned with her hand taped, and she knocked Jericho in the head with thus same hammer. And a quote, according to Y2J, ruined my Thanksgiving.
Yep, and a lot of people, fans alike, and pundits really thought Jericho had to win this match to really stay established and not be completely buried. Losing one at Survivor Series is one thing, but he had to win this feud and win the match, and he does at 10 minutes to an enormous pop, wins the IC title. The fans are actually split a little bit more here than Survivor Series. But once Chyna taps to the walls, Jericho gets to win. It was clear this was finally kind of his arrival moment. Wins the IC title, looking to add some prestige back to it. Chyna's had an admirable run. I don't think it's anything been awful. It's been fine. And granted, she's been in some pretty good feuds.
Yes.
So Jericho, your new champion. They really made Chyna look strong at the end, even lasting for a couple of minutes on the walls and then tapping out, and the announcers put over how brave she was to hang into the move as long as she did. Chyna's not out of the IC picture yet. This feud actually continue a little bit. But did you think this kind of salvaged Jericho a little bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And let's not shit all over Chyna, okay? It's not like Jericho was losing to Miss Kitty. Let's cut her a break. She was busting her ass. She was, I hate to say men's size, but she was, she was not a dainty thing,
right?
And she could hold her own just because she was wrestling with pretty fingernails doesn't mean she was, So let's.
No, she did okay, and
let's
they
give
put on
Chyna some
two
credit.
very good matches.
Yeah,
this
again,
one was
it's not
a
like he
little bit
lost
better.
to Miss Kitty or fucking
Right.
Mae Young or something.
Yeah, no, so now Insure's position is legitimate. She also had her new theme music by this point, to the "Don't Treat Me Like a Woman, Don't Treat Me Like a Man." She debuted that here, so now completely broken away from Triple H. They're out of each other's Titantron videos, different music, and they really have no interaction with each other at this point. So, Chris Jericho's your new Intercontinental Champion. A very good match. Second straight match that they've had that have been pretty good, and Jericho now looks to move on, being reestablished.
Yes, so the first of what would end up being many Intercontinental title reigns. We'll document them, of course, right here on the Place to Be podcast as we go. But right now, he is now a first-time World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion. All right. We've kind of motored our way, JR, through the undercard, but now it's time to now we start digging into some real meat and potatoes. Our next match, another title match. Your World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships on the line. Your champs, the standard bearer for the Attitude Era, at least this first half of the Attitude Era. And that is, of course, the badass, the Road Dogg, the New Age Outlaws. Taking on kind of a comeback here of sorts. And that is, of course, new sweatpants, new button-down shirt, still same tub of shit. And that is, of course, Mankind, a.k.a. Mick Foley, and, as Vince affectionately always calls him, The Rock. So Rock and Sock back together. Now, JR, there's a lot to talk about here.
Well, after it was determined that Mick Foley would be winding his career down and they decided not to turn him heel, they pretty much abruptly dropped to the heat he had with Rock on screen, and they kind of made up. Mankind had been teaming with Al Snow. They had been working, of course. They had the tag title match at Survivor Series. They had a brief title run. When we last left off, Mankind and Rock was in a shambles, but Foley and Al Snow had a blossoming relationship. The fact that they lost the tag titles at Survivor Series and that Al Snow's dolls had been pulled off of shelves across the country.
You okay? We don't have to call him.
No, I'm feeling all right. Still been,
okay,
I'm just a little tired.
Just want to make sure.
Of course, it meant that Al was having a very bad week. They claimed he had a severed women's heads. That was the figure.
Yeah.
So Mick continued to try and cheer up Al through various means, included singing "He's a Jolly Good Fellow" with the crowd, and they even took a very special trip to Las Vegas during Vegas Week on UPN.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week on Raw, Mankind and Snow were set to face off with the Hollies when we had a promo from Hardcore took place. As much as you people like to listen to me talk, I don't have time for any of you right now. Al Snow, you're a complete idiot. You're the reason why Walmart has pulled my dolls off the shelf. The 2-pack with Hardcore Holly and Al Snow dolls have been yanked off Walmart shelves, and Holly says that kids are going to have the worst Christmas of their life because they can't get a Hardcore Holly doll. He said, it's all right, Al, you can go around mutilating people, cutting people's heads off. That's fine on Danny, but that's your business. So, pretty funny stuff from Holly. Later in the show, in a backstage interview, Rock claimed that he never threw Mick's book in the trash, but Mick refused to believe him. Foley came out later and helped The Rock win a handicap match. The next week on Raw, Rock and Sock was set up for 6-man tag action, but they needed another guy to be in their team. Despite claiming he hated The Rock, Mankind convinced Al to join The Rock and Sock. Rock vetoed this because he had no idea who Al was, and that was a great promo where Snow was right next to them. And he's like, I don't even know who this Al is. It was good stuff there. Snow ended up interfering. Kane was chosen to be the third member, and Snow cost his friend the match. And then they had an epic encounter where Al Snow finally turned heel on Raw. He revealed to Mankind that he is the one that threw the book in the trash because he did not like all the stuff Mankind had been saying about him in it. All he wanted to be was Mankind's friend, and he said, these fans, they don't really love you. They just want to see you destroy yourself. I was the one that drove you to the hospital and stayed with you the night in Pittsburgh at King of the Ring 98. Rock doesn't give a shit about you. I'm your friend, and you treat me like shit. And Mick says, I have lots of friends, Al, but that doesn't mean I want to work with them. And basically says, as great as we are, Al Snow and Mankind, we're a shitty team. I want to be back with the Rock and Sock connection. Al turned on him, hit him with the book, and hit him with the mic, slams the book down and walks away, and officially turns heel, ending the friendship. And now, instead of Mankind turning heel and feuding with The Rock, we have this kind of a impromptu, abrupt Al Snow heel turn. He has a little mini feud with The Rock. Rock would beat him on SmackDown heading into the show, but Al does get involved in this match here. So the Outlaws really didn't have much going on in this. They were just stuck in here. I think Vince actually made the match. So they they didn't have much going on as far as this feud goes. It's all been pretty much Snow getting in the face of Rock and Mankind. What did you think about them abruptly dropping the heat between Mankind and Rock?
I think it was fine. Made sense. No, we talked about this last couple of vaults. I don't think anybody wanted to see that again. People want to like Mick now, so it was a waste of time. And you don't want to bog Rock down with another high profile feud that's already happened. He's one guy who needs the WrestleMania arc now to kind of slide into, because he's kind of been, in the hot box for the last 4 months. While everybody else has been doing main event things, he's kind of been cleaning up the back of the mid card.
Yep.
So I don't think there was any time for another Mick Rock feud. So I had no problem with them.
What did you think of the Snow heel turn?
It was fascinating, actually. I liked it. I liked Al being this nasty. He was legitimately upset. He wanted to be Mick's friend, and Mick treated him like garbage because he wanted to kiss Rock's ass. And
yeah, he did.
I enjoyed the logic of it.
Yep, he has some realism behind it.
I enjoyed the logic of it. Quickly, Derek Cornett, hard trivia question. When he cut that promo, JR, about driving Al in Pittsburgh, what hotel did they stay at?
La Quinta.
Wrong. Red Roof.
Oh. Yeah, but I liked the Al Snow heel turn too. I thought it's finally kind of given him a chance to run with the ball. Unfortunately, it's very short-lived. They kind of cut it short quickly. Mm-hmm. But I thought for these few weeks in December it was well worked. Snow interferes here and costs Rock and Sock the match by DQ. Mm-hmm. So the Outlaws keep the title. It's kind of an afterthought. And Mankind started to look a little bit better. Like you said, he's got the blue button down now with the new tie. But you could tell he's starting to get himself into a little bit better shape.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't look as bad as he did.
No.
He doesn't look as bad as he did 3 months earlier.
Yeah. So the Snow Mankind friendship's over. Rock and Sock back to happier times, and they pretty much patched up the differences. Snow was the one being the dick all along, and that feud will continue on just a little bit longer. But Al Snow, now your heel. New Age Outlaws, still your tag team champions.
Yeah, and this is actually, you graded it a little lower than me. I think maybe I overgraded it for historical purposes, but I really liked this match. I thought it was pretty good.
You did?
I did. I liked it.
You liked it, or you liked it?
I liked it. No, I liked it a lot. I thought it was good storytelling. And I think it's good to I think this moment is nice to put a bow on the whole Rock in the hot box, run here, because now right after this show is when we really start. Now, the Rock storyline arc really kicks into overdrive because now, and this is the thing, he was in the most. I think the pressure was more on him than anybody else as we talk about this whole, era, kind of short run of uncertainty with the Monday Night Wars and the, kind of the boosting of WCW. He was the guy, JR. I think everybody knows that. He was the guy. With Austin gone for who know the hell when, Rock was the guy. And I thought they did a great job of continuing to build him up. I know you and I had talked about his promos being a little stale. And maybe he was leaning on the cliches a bit much, but fans seem to not care. And we're at a moment now where he really is at the forefront now. And he's being set up for the big guy for this run to Anaheim in April. So,
sure, it's the
great
hot box,
match here.
Not the shine box?
No, the hot box.
Okay.
The shine box. Billy Bats, go get your fucking shine box. Yeah, I think it was good for him. I know we said he was kind of floating in limbo, but at the same time, he took advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
You still thought his promos were stale?
Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like other guys had a lot of depth. Like, you look at the work Snow and Mankind were doing during this feud. A lot of intensity, a lot of hatred, and Rock's still out there. Oh, how long I'm going to take this book, shove it sideways, shove your candy ass. It's like, still doing this. I mean, it's over. I don't blame him. Mm-hmm. Some of it's creative, but didn't have the passion and intelligence that some of these other promos had at the time.
Right. Well, maybe because he was in
I feel like he was coasting.
Yeah, well, it's because he was kind of going from feud to feud. He was kind of like a gypsy. But now, as we'll talk about on our next vault, he's definitely set now for what will be for him the next few months. So, but the New Age Outlaws still your World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions as they lose by disqualification, but still retain the titles. 17 minutes. Maybe a scoosh long. Maybe. Not in typical Road Dogg badass length. But they did a fine job. They held their own for a match that long. So, there you go. New Age Outlaws lose the match, but still your tag team champions. All right, JR, why don't we take a break? When we come back, we have our World Wrestling Federation title match next. And then, of course, the family squabble that bleeds over to the ring. More coming up. First, though, a word. Because
promotional consideration paid for by the following.
What I'd like to have right now.
Chad, do you ever feel that the world revolves around WWF?
I think you mean WWE there, Barf.
Yeah, whatever, but what about David Crockett?
She likes it!
Well, what about Jimmy Valiant?
I'm gonna get you all until I get you, Paul Jones. Oh.
The Four Horsemen.
We are a family, and we are the best.
The Omni, the Dangerous Alliance.
Please welcome the newest members of the Dangerous Alliance, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko.
Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express.
The Fantastics are putting the U.S. Tag Team title on the line against the Midnight Express.
Main events with actual work rate in them.
Woo! 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 All right!
It's just not fair to Flair.
It's not fair for Flair.
If this is what you're looking for, please check out Where the Big Boys Play podcast, the only pure NWA and WCW supercard podcast out there.
While you were in Hollywood making movies, Thunder Lips, I was winning world titles.
So a guy from across the pond and a dude from the south, Where the Big Boys Play. It's a great podcast. Harv and Chad are awesome. Check them out. Also check out WrestleChat.net, indeed where it's at. Great message board, plenty of topics to browse, the Still Real to Us podcast, and much, much more. Also, our message board, which is awesome, bigelow34.proboards.com. It's where PTB really began. Written reviews and a boatload of them. And PTB Nation, we have you to thank for that. Plus the Territory Wars, a whole lot more. If you want a one-touch spot for our show, you can head there. Also head to Stitcher.com and the Stitcher app for all phones and tablets. And more details on that. Also, our good friend Graham Cawthon and the history of WWE.com, the best research site you will ever find. Also, another sponsor to the show, the Wrestling Forum, TWFnews.com. They're a wrestling forum, a blog site, much, much more. The guys at TWF creating a wrestling media nation, many blogs, podcasts, vodcasts. Yours could be included. They're the official forum of WrestleChat.net and the place to be. We've joined up as well. So check them out. Find out what they're about at TWFnews.com. Also, you can check out our show at GetThePointRadio.com. My good friend Mike. It's a great online radio station. If you're not in the mood for wrestling, but you want to listen to music, pop it on. He plays music all day long. But you can also check his archive on iTunes, and all of our shows are there as well. Big site.
What's up, everybody? This is Kevin Kelly, longtime announcer with the WWE, now the voice of Ring of Honor Wrestling. No better place to be than right here on the Place to Be podcast. Make sure you tune in every
down the street, he says, why am I soft in the middle now? Why am I soft in the middle? The rest of my life is so hard. I need a photo opportunity. I want a shot of redemption. Don't want to end up a cartoon in a cartoon graveyard. Bone digger, dogs in the moonlight. Far away, my well-lit door. Mr. Beer Belly.
All right, Nation, we are back here reviewing Armageddon 1999, and of course, the story of Al has been put to bed.
JR. Derek Cornett, hard trivia question.
Who
was the actor in the video with Paul Simon?
Jay Leno? I don't know, I can't see.
Close. Chevy Chase.
Oh, okay. How's that close?
Guy that was on NBC.
Okay.
Because Chevy Chase was in the first seasons of Saturday Night Live.
I see.
Jason Greenhouse, medium trivia question.
Can't even get that right.
What was wrong with Triple H after his match with Henry Godwinn in the Hogpen match?
He died.
No, he didn't. No, he needed a tetanus shot because he had an open cut and he was rolling around.
That
in
was
pig
after the
shit.
Hogpen match or after the Criscolo Pigpen match?
We didn't use poop. Anyway, welcome back, Armageddon 99. Okay. Next up. Oh, was the side question? Was the Jim Price cutout the one where Sean had his arms out with his glasses and his?
No, I want to say he had like his hands on his hips or something. He had the chaps on though. I know.
Oh, okay. Because this is a different one they have on that Pettingill's standing next to now. He's got the red chaps.
All right, let's move on.
With the glasses. But anyway.
Next up, world title on the line.
Yes. Not the main event.
No.
But that's okay.
Nah.
World Wrestling Federation Championship match. Of course, this man won it at Survivor Series in a shocker because he wasn't even in the match to begin with. The Big Show. What? Came in at the last minute, as you know, at Survivor Series. Say what? Came in at the last minute.
Soundbite. Fucking
stunned. Stunned Triple H to become the World Wrestling Federation champion. British Bulldog on the screen right now, JR. The feud, though, that he's dealing with goes back before Survivor Series. And one of your favorites, JR. Tell us about it.
The Big Boss Man. Still fucking with the Big Show. We saw the stuff he did to destroy his relationship with his father. And then heading after Survivor Series, the feud continued on, but it was getting more physical now, kind of the less of the mind games. However, on one episode of WWF television, we had a very memorable psychological head game that took place. As the Big Boss Man stormed into the Big Show's mother's house and had a cameraman with him along the way.
I don't know what happened. I don't even care. But the bottom line
You don't tell him what's in this packet. I will.
Let me tell him it can come with me.
Exactly what do you want to tell him?
I want to tell him he wasn't supposed to know, but let me tell him.
What?
That he's illegitimate.
He's illegitimate.
He's illegitimate.
So what you're saying is your son's a bastard?
Yes. And it was a long time ago.
You're right. It should come from you. What I want you to do is take a look at that red light through that window right there. You just told the whole world, including Paul White, Big Freak Show, that he's a bastard.
No.
That he's a bastard. That's 10 times worse than you said he's being dead.
No.
Hey, Paul White, you're a nasty bastard, and your mama said so. What kind of person are you? What kind of morals do you have?
Get out.
What an amazing human being the Big Boss Man is. Goes to this woman's house and gets her to admit on camera to the world that you're a nasty bastard and your mama said so. What an awesome line. Just good stuff. Good stuff from the Boss Man.
Is he honestly like the best heel on the fucking roster right now? Absolutely amazing.
He's been great. I mean, just a prick. He's destroyed the Big Show's life here.
Yes.
So.
And finally, JR.
Yeah.
Don't believe he ever had it in his first run, but finally he gets a World Wrestling Federation Championship match.
Yep.
Well, he definitely didn't get it in his first run because heel hardly was champion during that stretch. So I don't know. Wait a minute. Scratch that. Was the awesome cage match on Saturday Night's Main Event? That had to have been for the title, right?
Yes, it was. Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. So he's had a couple shots.
Yeah. Good. Great storyline here. Comes to an end. But Big Show just destroys him, pins him in 3 minutes. Did you think this run for Big Show was cheapening the world title?
No.
Okay, so you're down.
Well, they kind of had no choice. I mean,
well, they didn't have to give it to him.
No, but they needed to get. I mean, obviously, as we talk about with the next match, they needed to siphon the belt off Triple H for something. So,
okay. I mean, it's kind of
had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool seeing Boss Man get the world title shot, and this feud certainly had the build up for it. I mean, it's like it's just a weird off challenge that really didn't make sense. I mean, it made plenty of sense, and Big Show finally puts this feud to bed. Mm-hmm. It's been a good one, though. Probably Boss Man's, last real best work here. So,
and I'm glad it was a squash.
Yeah, it had to be. It made perfect sense.
Mm. Yeah, no, it definitely needed to happen. Needed to put the feud to bed and end it. So, and that's exactly what he did. So, Big Show retains the World Wrestling Federation Championship. A little over 3 minutes. It's really not that great, but it wasn't meant to be.
Nah, I just had to blow it off.
Nah. Okay. Time now for the main event.
Hey, PTB Nation, it is now time for the Rob Houston Memorial Hacksaw Jim Duggan Update.
I got my 2x4.
Vince Kenny McMahon Jr. here with the Rob Houston Memorial YMCA Elliptical Fuckface Jackass Asshole Update. In December of 1999, December 3rd, the Bicentennial Center in Salida, Kansas, Creative Control defeated Jim Duggan and Chavo Guerrero. I don't know who that is. December 4th in the Five Seasons Center. Apparently Frankie Valli was busy that night in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Creative Control defeated that same team. They have the same stupid match on December 5th in Chicago. Jim Duggan fought Asia to a no contest in the heat of the moment. Chris Scola, that match happened on your friend Justin Rosero's birthday from the Dane County Coliseum in Madison, Wisconsin. Jim Duggan at midnight defeated Perry Saturn in Asia on Thunder from Mobile, Alabama. Jim Duggan defeated Brian Knobs from Daytona Beach on December 17th. Defeated Knobs again on December 18th in Jacksonville. He did a whole bunch of shit at Starrcade that I don't have the energy to discuss right now. Conan, Billy Kidman, and Duggan defeated Malenko, Saturn, and Asia from the Wibakapago Pacific Center in Salisbury, Maryland, December 20th. What the fuck? This guy was on fucking Juicin this month. December 27th at the Alamo Dome. Norman Smiley and Asia defeated Jim Duggan and Perry Saturn. And that's it. That's it for the Jim Duggan piece. Scolo, just talk for a minute. I need to catch my breath from that. That was a hectic month of Jim Duggan.
Yes, wow. Fighting women and shadows and midnight and...
My lord, what a fucking busy month. They were busier than we were.
Maybe that's why there's a little...
Jesus. All right, Chris Cole, I see you're discussing Armageddon 99.
Mm-hmm.
The battle between myself and your lover over my beautiful, voluptuous daughter, Stephanie.
Yes.
Well, Scott, you may know there's a little bit more to this Stephanie story than meets the eye.
Oh, there is there?
There's a secret in my past. I'm here to tell you about it tonight. I haven't ever told anyone this, Chris Cole.
Uh-oh.
This is how much your show means to me.
Okay.
Stephanie's known the truth for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but I forbade her from ever going public with this.
Mm-hmm.
Due to your intimate relationship with Triple H, this is a perfect forum. I'm going to come clean. My daughter Stephanie wrote a letter, which I'm going to read right now.
Okay. It's huge.
This is Stephanie McMahon. Cute, huh? This is my dad. And this is my dad. How did I get two dads? They inherited me. Congratulations, it's a girl. Here's the judge that brought us together. She lives in our building. My building. I own it. She's going to make sure we're one big happy family, with one dad who's down to earth, and one dad whose head's in the clouds. I think we're Father of the Year. You can count on me. No matter what you do, you can count on me. No matter where you go, I'll be standing by your side. I'll be right behind. No one loves you more than I do. Put your hand in mine. I can see part of me in you. A little something special that comes shining through. I hear it in your laughter and feel it when you cry. I'll be there for you until the day I die. You can count on me. No matter what you do, you can count on me. No matter where you go, you can count on me. You see, Chris Cole, 33 years ago, me and Mark Claire pulled up the hoopty at Dick Buckus's bar, and we found the most luscious, gorgeous bitch you've ever laid your eyes on. Flowing blonde hair, a pantsuit that would make even that stupid fuck Donald Trump jealous, and an ass tighter than Mitt Romney. Claire and I got this angel drunk and double-teamed her all night long, just like we usually do. Bareback, baby, no rubbers. Fast forward 7 years. Claire and I are chilling on the roof of our apartment in San Diego, sipping wine when the doorbell rings. There's an 8-year-old girl, a judge named Marge, and her lawyer, Clarence Mason. They told us the whole story. The lady Claire and I had bedded back in 1980 had given birth to this little girl, but had no idea who the father was. We assumed the mother had died, but we were wrong. She was just parking the car on the corner. As she approached, I was as smitten as I was back at Dickie B's bar. I immediately hired her and made her our ring announcer for challenge on the provision that she gives up the custody of the young woman. Claire and I would raise the child on our own, in our own image. She agreed, and after 3 years of shitty announce work, I finally fired Mike McGurk. She tried to go public with the news about my beautiful Stephanie, but Jerry McGivitt, my ace lawyer, wouldn't break. McGurk finally caved, blew all her savings, and disappeared into the swamps of Jersey. From there, me, Claire, and Stephanie lived happily ever after, until that no-good son of a bitch Tess got involved in our business, but that's a story for another day. Now listen, Scott, we have me, Claire, Armento, Rotella, Triple H, Stephanie, and yourself, one big fucking happy family. We just need 3 more, and you could say it's just the 10 of us. You excited about this breaking news, Chris Cole? No one else has ever heard this story before.
I can't believe it.
We're going to buy a house out in Hackensack, the 7 of us. I already got it picked out.
Hackensack, where the rivers flow orange. I can't believe it.
It's right outside the Hilton Heights Hasbrook, or whatever the fuck the hotel is.
Which is
down the street.
Oh, right on Patterson Place.
I already got it picked out, Chris Cole. I scouted it out to a WrestleMania weekend.
Right between the radio station and the strip joint.
Chad Campbell's going to mow our lawn. All right, I'm out of here, bitch.
Goodbye, Dad.
Hey, Rotella, you think they bought that story? Now they think Stephanie's not really related to me by blood, so I can leer at her and grab her tits in peace. It won't be as sick as everyone thinks it is. That bitch really gets me go, what? Yeah, you can have Linda. I don't give a shit. That old fucking bag. I think Armento has already done that. I didn't touch that fucking... What? All right, pull the car around. Claire's here. Let's go. We're going to go throw eggs at Mike McGurk's shack. I think she lives in a trailer park. Breaking news here on the Place to Be podcast.
I can't believe that Vince and Claire did their best impersonation of Ken Patera and Mr. Saito.
Yes.
They go fucking get some quarter pounders at 4 a.m. after that. Wow, I can't believe it. We're going to be living next to the strip joint and the radio station on Patterson Plank Road. So impressive. Wow. That's amazing. Can't believe it. More. The story's going to grow. You do know that, right? There'll be a part 2 to this in our next vault. Mark my words. Vince is going to find out more about this. Ooh. There's more to this than meets the eye. The tree grows past the branches of Mike McGurk. Leave it at that. All right. Speaking of Vince, now he's got to fight. This war goes back a few months, pretty much all the way back to September, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole winning the title, and then, of course, screwing him at Survivor Series. It was, it's been brewing. It's been percolating. And now that for the 1 month.
Brewing.
Mm-hmm. And,
yeah, a lot of stuff was brewing.
Yes.
They were building up the big wedding.
Yes.
For November 29th in Los Angeles. Before that, Triple H was still messing with Vince. Vince was still messing with Triple H. Triple H got a protection order against Vince because after Triple H had been fucking with his family, Vince ran them down with a fucking with his rental car. He smashed into the limousine. Vince was really a madman. Shane was trying to calm him down on all these episodes, but Vince wanted to keep messing with Triple H because they had made things personal. That was the big hook there. Everything was personal between these two.
Mm-hmm.
So the day of the wedding came, and Vince said that anyone who was not invited or not family could not attend the wedding. Now, earlier in the night, Test was given a gift from his father-in-law to be, and that was a match with Triple H, which Test actually won. Triple H didn't seem to mind, though. He kind of just laughed it off, hinted that things were still to come from him. Scott, what did you think of Test having to wrestle, and then poor bastard's out in his tuxedo, sweating his balls off during the wedding? It looked awful. Of course, they had the groomsmen with the Hardys and Edge and Christian. They had decked out the ring. This was a big deal at the time. Remember, they had the full page out in the fucking, like, was it USA Today or the LA Times, whatever the hell it was. They had the big Raw is Love ad.
I think it was LA Times.
Big deal at the time. Really hyped. Remember, this had been...
It was the first Raw wedding.
And it had been started and stopped, too. Because when Russo left, they had to reboot it all. And just a lot of hype going into this. And CRZ, as he mentioned, this had to really deliver to kind of help that perceived gap that was closing between the two promotions.
Mm-hmm.
So before the vows were given, Triple H comes out wearing a boot and air, and airs a video. This video shows that he pulls up to a Las Vegas chapel drive-thru and reveals that Stephanie McMahon was passed out in the seat next to him after being drugged at her bachelorette party. He tricks the lady at the drive-thru into thinking Steph's awake, and he talks as her in some really funny hammed-up action.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, they were officially married. The cameraman proves to be the bartender at Stephanie's bachelorette party that had overserved her, made her pass out. And I love the lady at the wedding chapel window goes, and God bless you. And Triple H, that smarmy voice, and God bless you, too. And then they drive off with the just married thing. And they cut back, and Stephanie's in tears, and Vince is fucking out of his mind, flipping out. Just an epic, epic scene. And to me, Scott, after many kind of teases and up and down moments and kind of, no, pull back. To me, this is where Triple H was a made man with this one segment. Instantly became really, really cool. Instantly became a fucking badass.
Yep.
I thought his acting here was phenomenal. I thought the promo he cuts after the video airs was great. Says they were married into this crazy family and calls Vince Pops and everything else. And
Dad.
Yeah, just great stuff. Really good stuff. And to me, this is where he becomes the top guy, officially. Yep. Austin's gone. We need a new top heel. He's kind of been ready to break through, but this, to me, put him over the top. And the 2 weeks following were equally as good. Kept taunting Vince. DX gave wedding presents, fucking crotchless panties and a catcher's mask and all this other crap. Stephanie kept asking Triple H to annul the marriage. And Triple H said that if Vince would put up a title shot for Triple H on the line at Armageddon, he would put up Stephanie's annulment papers because Triple H had been barred from getting any more title matches from Vince. So he wanted that title shot, and he said he'll put up the annulment against Vince here in a no-holds-barred match. Anything goes. Father's pride, father's love on the line against his new son-in-law. Now, Test, the poor bastard, pretty much an afterthought after that happens. He's on heat here and really becomes second fiddle in this whole feud. Doesn't really ever get much of a payback. Kind of looks like a fool and his push kind of dies on the vine. Did you think he deserved it? I mean, he seemed like he was still over.
Yeah, I thought he was still over.
I feel like he got fucked in this.
Yeah, he probably got.
I mean, it was collateral damage. Someone was bound to.
Yeah,
just gotta feel bad for him.
I agree. Vince kind of inserted himself into the test role. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Triple H in test.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think it should have been test here?
Yeah, I think so. I think it would have been better match. I mean, the match was good anyway, but
it kind of made sense with Vince, though.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that had been the feud brewing since September.
You're Triple H. You're damn straight I am.
That was just really good stuff. And, of course,
awesome.
the final salvo on SmackDown, Shane gets Triple H to sign the contract, and then they pop him with the mic and throw him off the stage to the table, and then throw the contract down on him. Remember, Shane had that fucking Anthony Armento members-only jacket on?
Yes.
But, yeah, good. I thought the build here was really good. It really dominated these Raw and SmackDowns. I mean, these other matches had feuds, but to me, this was the one that was the most heavily pimped. It was constant, and DX was everywhere in this. Triple H was all over the place. So, yeah, the match is very long, 30 minutes.
There were a few people that were a little miffed that the belt was kind of taking a back seat, but come on, at this point, the Attitude Era, the rules are out the window.
And I'm fine with it here. I'm fine with it here. I think this match was big enough. It was the main storyline. Lots on the line. Stephanie's at ringside because Road Dogg's gift to Triple H for the wedding was a ticket to Armageddon. Mm-hmm. So he's given that to Stephanie so she can sit ringside. I thought this match was maybe like 12 minutes too long. I think maybe
probably. They brawled a lot, like in the back.
Yeah, it's a long fight. And do you think Vince got? You think he? I mean, part of the beef is that he just went too long with a guy that's supposed to be a top heel of the company. That Vince should have really lasted 30 minutes in this match.
I never thought of that. That's actually a good point, JR. I never thought of that. You're right. He probably should have gone maybe 16 minutes and maybe given Boss Man. Well, they wanted to keep that a squash. Probably could have sprinkled the time around other stuff.
Yeah, I just think it looks a little goofy that Vince.
You have to understand. And the other problem was you had 3 matches on this show that were 4.5 minutes or less.
Right.
So unfortunately, there's nowhere else to stick anything.
Yeah, the undercard kind of flies by, and then this main event goes 30 minutes, which is very long. So in the end, Stephanie gets in the ring with a sledgehammer, teases that she's going to hit Triple H, turns and decks her father, and of course the big swerve that to most people.
Actually, no.
I'm sorry, she gives it to Triple H. Takes it from her.
No, what happens is she hesitates and he knocks it out of her hand.
That's right, and then he hits Vince with it.
And
then she hugs him after.
And then she gives that long look, and then I got to be honest, I kind of knew the minute she hesitated hitting him. I think
most people knew actually heading into the match.
Yeah, I think
that she was going to go with Triple H. It only made sense.
Yeah,
so they immediately become the power couple, Stephanie and Triple H. Shane and Vince would both be off TV for a while now, selling the angst over this whole moment, and it'll become the Triple H and Stephanie show. Stephanie immediately thrust to the forefront.
Yes.
I thought it was good. I thought the story was well done. I liked the swerve. I thought you needed to establish this, and I thought this was a good main event story-wise. Like I said, it could have probably been cut in half, but the whole thing with Stephanie and Triple H getting together made the whole storyline make sense.
Yeah.
It made sense that she obviously wasn't drugged. It was all set up. And her and Triple H, I thought he needed another woman, non-Chyna, to really help him kind of dominate. And now he's got the full package. He's got the backup. He's got the bitch hot valet. He's got the power. He just needs his title back now. So I thought, to me, this was really the best position that he's been in as far as being set up for a run here.
Yeah. It's amazing. Such a well-done... Almost
forgot it.
Well, Vince kind of got in the way. And yes, it's very special tonight because he definitely...
Were you sad to see him with another woman?
What do you mean another? Well...
All right, we're out of here, folks.
See you later, bye. I was actually very intrigued at how Stephanie was going to approach this. She was the wild card in this whole thing.
Yeah, did you think she had the chops to pull it off? Did you think she had the chops heading in?
No.
Okay.
I was a little nervous, I'm not going to lie. Not him. He was on cloud 9.
Yeah.
But I was a little... Was he going to have that Linda acting skills, which are not great? And we'll see a lot of that coming up later on, as we head into the new millennium. But I was a little skeptical because When she was a face, it was. I think she sells it well though the next night though, and we'll get into that. In the next Vault, but we kind of see her pretty impressively. The Raw the night after. Cell being a pretty snotty little bitch heel. So at the moment, I'm like, is she going to pull this off? And as we'll discuss in the next Vault, I think she did. And it got better as the year went along.
Oh, yes.
So there you go. Overall, we both gave it a B-. The undercard was fine. It was kind of, it went briskly. Some matches were good. Others were... There wasn't a bad match that was meant to be great anyway. No. Like, there wasn't a match where you went in thinking, oh, it's going to be a good match, and ended up being a dog. None of them were like that. The short dogs were meant to be short dogs.
Yeah, I thought it's kind of an overlooked card. I know a lot of the December ones are kind of maligned a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this one overexceeded expectations. I thought it had some pretty good feuds heading in and really wrapped up. To me, they got their mojo back here. Yes. I thought heading out of Survivor Series, the shows are strong, really kicked into gear with the wedding Raw. And I think from there, they're off and running heading into the new year. And I think the first Raw of 2000 is when they put their foot on the throat.
Yes, I think so too.
But I think here they're getting the mojo back. You can tell those 2 months, the rust of reworking backstage and everything else, losing Austin, they've kind of shook that off. And I think they hit gold here with this storyline. So I liked the show. I think it's I won't say hidden gem, but pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good finish to 99. I thought they finished strong. And, of course, Scott with 1999 will be talking to Kevin Kelly in a couple of weeks to wrap up the year on his end as well. So
yes. All right. Quickly, no descriptions. This was the card for Starrcade 99. This is what they went with. Let's see. I think this was the week after. Let's see. December 19th. Yeah, this was the Sunday after the MCI Center in Washington, D.C. I'll just rip off the matches quick. The Mamalukes against Disco Inferno and Lash LaRue. Medusa beat Evan Courageous to win the Cruiserweight title. Norman Smiley defeated Meng. In an 8-man tag, The Revolution, Shane Douglas, Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn Asia, defeated Jim Duggan and the Varsity Club. Vampiro defeated Steve Williams by DQ, and then Vampiro defeated Oklahoma. We know who that was. Creative Control and Kurt Hennig defeated Harlem Heat and Midnight. Jeff Jarrett beat Dustin Rhodes in a Brunkhouse brawl. DDP defeated David Flair in a crowbar and a pole match. Sting defeated Lex Luger by DQ, or the total package. Kevin Nash defeated Sid Vicious in a powerbomb match. Chris Benoit defeated Jeff Jarrett in a ladder match for the U.S. title. And in the main event, Bret Hart defeated Goldberg in a no DQ for the world title.
Of course, that's the infamous match where Goldberg kicked Bret Hart in the head.
Yep.
Gave him the concussion that would eventually end his in-ring career. Not a very good Starrcade. Not a very good finish.
Matches,
yeah, 99. By the end of the December into January, the Vince Russo bloom was off the rose, and things would get significantly different. But here, there's a little bit of gleam, a little bit of chance. But I think WWF snuffed it out with the wedding and with the show, and we're back on top. So, Scott, no feedback tonight because we have some trivia to get to, and then we have a couple of business to take care of out of the trivia. So why don't we quickly head? We got two big trivia matches. What is the first one we're going to hear here tonight?
Our
Scott?
first matchup is a pretty good match here. Two PTB stalwarts. It is Dennis Nunez and Mr. Andre the Giant fan club president himself, Jordan Duncan.
All right, why don't we take a look at these trivia matchups that were recorded back a couple weeks ago, and then we'll come back live and wrap the show up. All right, Nation, we are back. We have another great trivia matchup for you here in the 2013 edition of the PTB Nation Tournament. This is matchup number 5?
Yes.
Number 5. Okay. Two guys that were here last year, two stalwarts of the trivia scene. And of course, the first man is the king of the half-baked ideas. Hopefully he has some fully baked answers for us, and that is, of course, Jordan Duncan. Jordan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing fine. Doing fine here. All right, and your opponent is the man who went a couple rounds last year, had a good showing, and is looking to go a little bit deeper in the game. Mr. Dennis Nunez. Sweating over the heat. How you doing?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing fine. Are you nervous about your heat? Although, actually, it's going to be over by the time this airs, I guess, so it doesn't matter if you want to talk about it or not.
I don't know if you read my post from last night, but I think the Heat have a pretty good chance in Game 7.
Okay, well, it's a flip of the coin. We'll see. And everyone hearing this is either going to be laughing at you or nodding in agreement. So,
just want to say something. Looking back at last year's results, remember Mr. Nunez pulled off that stunning upset.
Yes,
when he knocked out the ubiquitous Mr. D'Amato.
Yep,
and that other putz LaRue. So.
That wasn't really an upset. That was that was chalk. All right.
Well, that was chalk, not D'Amato.
Yeah,
All right.
you don't need to be 100% to be LaRue, so that wasn't much.
no, it was not.
Do worse than no, never mind.
All right, guys, you know the rules. You say a number, we give you the question that goes with it. It's going to be easy, medium. Scott's going to flip a coin, determine who goes last in the first round, and if you go last in each of the subsequent rounds, you always get to match the person ahead of you. First 3 takes it, and I think we're good to go.
Yes, and the coin was flipped, and Mr. Nunez will go first, which means, Jordan, you will be the home team in this round, and then you'll get 2 in a row, and then Dennis, and then up and down. So the guy who's last in his round and gets 3 shall win. Mr. Nunez, pick a number.
From what to what?
Oh, I'm sorry, 1 to 227.
I'll pick number 18.
18. Okay, you have 10 seconds. Which wrestler debuted as a fan in the crowd, chosen to be used to sit on Dino Bravo and the Ultimate Warrior for added weight during a push-up contest?
What wrestler debuted?
Yep. Need an answer.
Jim Powers.
Jim Powers?
I don't know.
That's atrocious. Of course, it was
actually know
Earthquake.
that one.
It was Earthquake.
I'm a child of the Attitude Era. That's way before my time.
Oh, come on. Dino Bravo. You should know Earthquake's associated with him.
Okay.
You were more D-Wade than LeBron on that one.
Low blow,
right.
Justin.
Mr. Duncan, you're up. Pick a number.
I didn't hear what you said. It's number 1 through what?
1 to 227.
Okay, 24.
24. Okay. 10 seconds. Which 2 wrestlers teamed as the New Blackjacks in 1997?
Oh, Bradshaw and Barry Windham, I think.
Very nice. High five.
High five.
Very nice, Mr. Duncan. We are at 1-1. I'm sorry, 1-0. Sorry, Nunez. I'm just taunting you all the way. All right, round number 2.
No, great.
Duncan's still up with the easy.
Yes, round number 2. Still with easies. Mr. Duncan, you pick again.
Let's go with 100.
Okay. All right. 10 seconds.
Sure.
Under which moniker did the Fabulous Moolah compete when she screwed Wendy Richter out of the WWF Women's title in late 1985?
Okay. It's either, I'm thinking out loud, it's either Spider Lady or Lady Spider. Okay, I gotta go with
You have to pick one.
the Spider Lady.
Good guess.
Is that good or bad?
Good guess.
Okay, you were at 2, Mr. Duncan. All right, Dennis, you are a little bit behind the 8 ball, but you can get back into it. You have back-to-backs here.
All right.
Number.
I'll pick 79.
79, okay. You have 10 seconds. Who competed in the first ever match to air on WCW Monday Nitro?
First 2 guys?
Yes.
Brian Pillman and Justin Liger.
Pretty good.
I'll give it to you. And they said Justin Liger, because I know what you meant. Justin Liger, of course.
Well,
I don't think we'll ever see Justin JR with hair that long. So
Justin is his American name.
Yes.
Yes, it's his name when he comes to Providence.
Wait, so you're saying Justin Credible is actually Justin Liger?
All right. It's 2-1 now, and Mr. Nunez, another one.
all right. 127.
Okay. Aha. Okay, here we go. 10 seconds. What college basketball team does my PIC JR have season tickets for?
What the hell? Wait, is that ever a question?
Yeah. Hey, it was made very clear in the rules that this was going to be a podcast and wrestling related.
Oh, Christ.
I'm pretty sure I know that one. I'm pretty sure I know this one.
I don't know.
3, 2. Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis.
Let me give you the countdown. Providence Friars, Mr. Nunez. Providence Friars. I think I talk about it pretty nonstop on Facebook, on the show, and everything else. So, come on now. See, these are the questions that are going to reveal the true fans of the podcast.
That's right. I got a lower back tattoo of Scott's face, so I got this.
All right, Medium Duncan. Does he win with this one? I believe so.
It is, yes, it's 2-1, and he is the home team in this round. So, yes. If you get this right, Mr. Duncan, you move on to you get 2 chances to move on to the next round. Pick a number between 1 and 223.
All right, I'm going to intimidate Dennis. I'm going to pick my IQ, 57.
And of course, you get 20 seconds now, Jordan.
I'm at Scott's age. I'm sorry.
That's very good.
You get 20 seconds. Well, actually, now you get 15 because you lose 5 for that for your snarkiness.
Happy birthday, by the way, Scott.
Thank you. Hey, that doesn't help your cause. No, I'm just kidding. All right, you have 20 seconds for the win. When the Rougeau brothers moved to the United States, what city do they call their home?
I'll say Memphis.
Mr. Duncan!
Holy cow.
Makes up for last year's disaster.
Yeah, well, last year I lost to the guy who won, so I wasn't that.
Disaster, I says. Disaster. All right, Mr. Nunez. Tough going. Hopefully your Heat did better than you did.
Could not catch the magic of a year ago, but that's okay. Give it a good run.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tough night for you. Mr. Duncan, congratulations. We will be in touch when you'll be on again. By the time we get to the second round, you'll probably be on for half-baked ideas before that. So
sounds good to me.
We'll be talking to you guys. A good job, Scott. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobnation.com, your pop culture home. All right, Nation. Another great trivia matchup is upon us. Matchup number, I keep get lost in the numbers. Number 6, right?
6.
All right, number 6. And this is the one many people are waiting for, possibly the biggest first-round matchup of the 2013 PTB Nation Trivia Tournament.
I think it's ironic, JR, that this is the 6th matchup, and this could be the ultimate challenge.
Yes. Ooh. That's a good one. All right, let's bring in these 2 titans of the trivia tournament format. First, we bring in Mr. Jason Greenhouse. Greenie, how you doing?
All right, guys. How are we doing tonight?
Good, Greenie.
Doing fine. And, of course, his opponents, another trivia powerhouse in his own right, Mr. Derek Cornett, the purveyor of the Territory Wars. Derek, how you doing?
Good evening, gentlemen. It is great to be here on the Place to Be podcast. I'm ready for the tournament. I've been studying all day. Not really, but I'm excited. So let's do this thing.
All right, you guys know the rules. You say a number. We give you the question that goes along with it. Scott's going to flip a coin, pick who goes last in the first round, and then from there, the snake fashion. So the home team each round always gets to match. And I think that's about it.
Yes.
Oh, easy, medium for this this go around here.
2 easies and a medium in this round. And I flip the coin. Mr. Greenhouse, you will go first in the first round. Mr. Cornett, you will go last. So you'll be the home team for this first go round.
Woo, woo.
Greenie, pick a number between 1 and 227.
Let's go with the captain, Thurman Munson, number 15.
Ooh, Thermy. Okay. All right. 10 seconds. Which WWE pay-per-view was the first to be available in HD?
WrestleMania 27.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
It was the 2008 Royal Rumble. The
From
debut of
Madison
Mike
Square
Adamle.
Wasn't that Michael Buffer, too?
Yes, Michael Buffer was at that one as well.
And Jeff Harvey.
Yep, Jeff Harvey. Yes, Jeff Harvey.
Yeah.
No, it was,
Can
Buffer
I
was
just
on
take
it.
a moment real quick? I really liked Mike Adamle, but that dude could not do live TV. I think he would have been better on SmackDown.
I agree. I thought he had some potential. He was a name, too, you know?
Yeah, and it's not like he didn't know sports and didn't have personality.
Yeah.
He just didn't have live TV personality.
Yep.
I feel they didn't let him prepare either.
Nope.
Like, how do you go on the air and then just blow one of the main event guys' names? I mean, really.
Well, that's probably just a flub.
That's too bad.
All right, Cornett, pick your number.
I don't have too much stake in the numbers, so I'm going to do my movie quotes. Number 35, Houston, we have a problem.
Okay. All right, 10 seconds.
Yep.
What song was the official theme for SummerSlam 1998?
Oh, Highway to Hell, AC/DC.
Very good, Mr. Cornett. Take an early 1-0 lead.
Yes, and you are up again. Pick another number.
Oh, they're snaking, sorry. Let's go with number 89, My Precious.
Okay. Which Mexican superstar was signed by WWE in 2011 to compete under a mask as Sin Cara?
Mystico. Oh, that is Sin Cara, isn't it?
Very nice. High five.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, Greeny, already behind the 8 ball here.
Need to put up a 2 spot.
You are back to back. Pick your first number.
Let's go with 92.
92. Okay. Under which name did Mickie James compete during her time in TNA and Ring of Honor?
Alexis LeRae.
Good job, Mr. Greenhouse.
Did you also say softcore pornography?
Yes.
Yes. All right. 2-1.
The Michael
You get another
Vincent
one.
collection.
The Michael Vincent special. And you get another one.
All right, let's go with 52.
Okay. What injury did Vince McMahon suffer when he went to the ring at the 2005 Royal Rumble?
I believe he tore his quad.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Very good, Mr. Greenhouse. However, because he's going last this round, Mr. Cornett can win with a correct answer here.
Yep.
Okay. We now go to the mediums. You now have 20 seconds, Mr. Cornett.
Okay.
Pick a number between 1 and 223.
I'm going to do number 23, Scotty, beam me up.
Okay. For the win. And to move on to the second round. Which of these wrestlers was not a member of the West Texas Rednecks alongside Kurt Hennig? A, Barry Windham. B, Kendall Windham. C, Tracy Smothers. D, Bobby Duncombe.
Tracy Smothers for the win.
An efficient, clean win by technical knockout, we'll call it. In this heavyweight main event, Mr. Derek Cornett advances to round number 2. Jason Greenhouse, how are you feeling?
Let me tell you, I've done a lot on this show. I've done Jim Duggan reports. I've even been roasted by El Giante. But I couldn't handle the man behind the territory wars tonight. Derek, congratulations.
Greenhouse, nothing but respect for you, man. It was great meeting you out in New York. I'm looking forward to continuing that as we move along here, and you're an amazing opponent. So good luck to you, man.
All right, man. Kick ass in this tournament, man. Continue doing so.
Absolutely.
All right, Jay, you study up for next year. Derek, congratulations. We'll be in touch for your round 2 appearance.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let me get my plug in. The Territory Wars are hotter than ever right now. Check out everything we've got going on. Portland, we've got All Japan, we've got WCW, NWA, we've got Mid-South Wrestling, and, of course, myself running the WWF. 200 episodes, week in and week out. Check it out on the place to be, Territory Wars.
All right, Scott, there is your trivia matchups. 2 big, the last one was a Clash of the Titans.
Yes.
But for the second year in a row, Jason Greenhouse kind of flames out a little prematurely, I thought.
Yes. And Jordan Duncan.
Yes. Atones for last year.
And Derek Cornett now join Brad Woodling, our man J.O., Jay Womet. I heard the weekend's benefit went pretty well.
Yes.
I read some stuff on the Facebook page.
I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it yet, but that's what it seems like.
Yeah, it looked like it went pretty well. Mr. Feth and the underdog, Steve Willie, all move on to the next round, joining Mr. Cornett and Mr. Duncan.
All right, Scott, let's take care of some business. This Wednesday, the winner of the Pick Your Big One, Pick Your Vintage Vault
was not barely legal.
No, not a poor Michael Vincent on Suicide Watch. We will be reviewing live Heroes of Wrestling with a live watch. Jordan Duncan will be in the house. The 3 of us will throw that in and live review that bad boy. Next Sunday night, Scott, we talked to Dime Dallas Page finally.
Yes, I reached out to his girl there to confirm. Did not hear from her.
All right, well, let me know. Let me know if you don't, because I will reach out to Robert.
Yeah. So
yes,
at least we handle it from a couple angles. But hopefully
DDP hopefully will be in the house here at the Nation Sunday night, and then Monday night, tentatively right now, our next big interview, Scott. 2 next week. 2 big interviews here on the Place to Be Nation. DDP Sunday and another Jersey guy, I believe. Monday night. Is he a Jersey guy? His tag partner's a Jersey guy. Glenn Ruth, formerly Thrasher of the Headbangers, a guy we've been talking about quite a bit here in 1999. Kind of a good time to talk to him. Talk about the reboots, the evil clown angle that never was, the rebirth of the Headbangers and the Sisters of Love and everything else to do with them. So we'll be talking to DDP Sunday, Glenn Ruth, hopefully Monday. If not, Glenn Ruth will be doing the 2000 Royal Rumble, but hopefully Glenn will be with us. The week after, we have Kevin Kelly on Monday night to wrap up 99. And then Tuesday night, we'll have Graham Cawthon and Chad Campbell on to look at the first half of this year, 2013, in the world of wrestling.
He is actually he is from Camden, New Jersey. He currently lives in Florida.
Okay, I thought he was a Jersey boy. So, there you
go.
He's a
Jersey boy, he just doesn't live there now.
Yep, there's your next couple weeks of programming, Scott. We will be back Wednesday nights with Heroes of Wrestling and more trivia. Until then, that's Scott. I'm Justin. We're out. Talk to you later.
I can't believe you're going to live in Hackensack.
We're going to buy a house out in Hackensack.
The rivers flow orange.
And I can't drive with a broken back. At least you can polish my fender.
On Sullivan Street.
He is a foreign man. He is surrounded by the sound. Cattle in the marketplace. Scatterlings and orphanages.